Good morning. People of Tampa, good morning to you all. I not only bring you salutations, I am also here to bring you a call to action. Today, I ask for all of you to reach. Reach for that image of your better self that is hidden in the recesses of your mind. Today, I ask for you to understand. You must understand that a recession is just an opportunity for innovation. Today, I ask for you to believe. Believe that you can take a few pennies and with the sound word of prayer, turn it into the foundation for a great opportunity. And I will also ask for you to see. Specifically, to see from sea to shining sea that the America that we know and love so well is still a land of opportunity. To our mayor, Bob Buckhorn, Tampa City Council, City of Tampa employees, administrators, directors, family, sponsors, friends, and if I missed anyone, I would like to make sure you know you are included when I say family. Welcome to the 24th Annual City of Tampa Black History Celebration, Reigning in Finance, Reshaping the American Dream. Thank you all for coming today. I am so excited to be here, and our topic is just an incredible topic. And when you have an incredible topic like this, you have to have a wonderful MC to make sure that it all comes together. And this year, for the second year in a row, we are privileged to have Mr. Rod Carter. Rod Carter is an anchor at News Channel 8. He is the anchor of the Today Show from 4:30 in the morning to 7 a.m. So that tells you that this man has been up for quite some time today. And we're glad that he can be here. Now, you may remember that some time ago, Rod was in the area. He went away to Alabama, and he came back to Tampa. I think he liked the weather a little better here. And we're definitely glad to have him back. He's a graduate of Florida A&M University, the Rattlers. I'm sure there's a lot of Rattlers out there. He is also a member of Phi Beta Sigma fraternity. Yeah. The National Association of Black Journalists and the Tampa Bay Association of Black Journalists, which I believe are represented here today as well. And then he also holds he is also on the board of directors for the American Diabetes Association, but I know him best as a member of Beulah Baptist Institutional Church, and you can find him there most Sundays. And if you catch it on the right Sunday, he'll be singing a song for you. So please come on out to Beulah and you can hear Rod Carter sing a tune. At this present time, I would like to present to you Mr. Rod Carter.
Good morning. How's everybody doing this morning? I thought it was funny that he said he had to find an MC to talk about reining in finance. I'm probably the worst person to talk about reining in finances. I'm sorry, that's a joke. It's such an honor to be here once again this morning. You know, every year, this is such a wonderful organization, and I appreciate Frank every year for asking me to be a part of it. I feel that it's an honor and a duty and a privilege to be here to celebrate our history in the city of Tampa. Whether you're from Tampa or you are newly to Tampa or you move back to Tampa like me, keep going in a circle coming back to Tampa, there's something about this city that draws us here, and I think it's important for us to always recognize our history in this city. All right, that's as much as I'm going to talk. That's not on this piece of paper. All right, that's a deal. I was told earlier, I'm going to show you some raps if you keep talking, so I'm not going to do it. We're going to keep the program moving along. Tampa Fire Chief Thomas Ford is going to deliver the invocation for this year's celebration. Chief Ford has more than 27 years of service with the city of Tampa. He's a devoted husband and father that believes in reaching out to help others in the community. And Chief Ford also serves on the board of the City of Tampa Black History Committee. Now, following Chief Ford's invocation, following the invocation, Try that again. And following the invocation from one of Tampa's bravest, another of Tampa's bravest, TPD Detective Sonia Wise will sing our national anthem. And Detective Wise has the distinction of being the first black female to serve as a TPD robbery detective. Now, her previous assignments included robbery, economic crimes, and the gang unit. She's a co-founder and managing partner of Encore Productions, which is a theatrical production company, and she also has the lead vocalist for the jazz ensemble, the Lady Fingers. So please give Chief Forward a welcome, a round of applause as he makes his way to the podium, and an extra special one because he's still battling a cold.
Thank you, Rod, and good morning to each of you who I've not had the opportunity to speak to already this morning. If I could have you please stand for the invocation and remain standing and recite along with me the Pledge of Allegiance after the invocation. Let us pray. Father God, we come before thee with bowed heads and humble hearts. We're so thankful, Father God, for the many blessings you bestowed upon us from our earliest existence to this present moment. Father, we're just so blessed and so thankful for what you have provided us here in this great community, in this great city, in the leadership of our mayor, from our council, and to each and every respective member that works in this great city, in this community, Father God. We pray your blessings continually be upon this organization, this group, and this community. We pray that you bless us both collectively and, Father God, individually as well. Father God, we pray that you just continually watch over this entire nation, watch over our countries, continue to bless our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines, wherever they may be, Father. And Father God, as always, this company, this group, this community will be ever mindful to give you the praise, the honor, and the glory. In his name we pray. Amen. Amen. Will you please join with me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please remain standing.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that a flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet waves? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the
You may be seated. Let's give Detective Wise another round of applause. At this time, we'd like to recognize some special guests in the audience. Representing Congresswoman Kathy Castor, Ms. Chloe Coney, if you are, I know you're here, there you are. And I apologize if we have any other politicians in the house, if you would just stand so you could be recognized as well. Now, thank you very much. Thank you. We heard Frank mention just a few minutes ago, this is the 24th year of the city of Tampa's had a Black History celebration, and this celebration was a brainchild of former city director Mr. Bobby Boughton. Mr. Boughton, along with city employees such as Janet S. Martin, Fred Hearns, Betty Johnson, and Harold Scott, They are the reason that we're here today to celebrate this aspect of Tampa's very rich history. Ms. Johnson, Mrs. Johnson, Mr. Hearns, Mr. Scott, and Mr. Bowden, if you're here, please stand so we can recognize you, and we honor your presence. Thank you for letting us stand on your shoulders to be here today. Now, for a celebration like this, it takes, of course, the support of private businesses to help the Black History Committee stand. And one of the committee's most staunch supporters is Busch Gardens, Tampa. Mr. Gerald Hopner, and I hope I said that name correctly. Please forgive me if I didn't, is here from this wonderful organization. Please give him a round of applause as well. And also, if you would, we'd like to recognize our community partners for today's event and for the committee as well. The Mayor's Hispanic Heritage Committee, as well as the Mayor's African American Advisory Committee, and the Tampa Bay Association of Black Journalists, which is, of course, near and dear to my heart. Let's give them a round of applause as well. And if representatives from those organizations are here, if you would stand. I'll say it again. There we go. Wonderful. Thank you all very much. Another individual, of course, worthy of a round of applause is Mayor Bob Buckhorn. Since taking office on April 1st, 2011, Mayor Buckhorn has been focused on building an environment that will move Tampa to the next level and, of course, create strong economic climate. In other words, our mayor is working hard to change Tampa's economic DNA. If you would, please welcome Mayor Buckhorn as he comes to give us a presentation.
And if you have never been to Beulah to hear Rod, you need to go. We even may get you to sing a little bit. You're not going to do that? All right. I don't know. I can call Pastor Favorite right now. It's good to see all of you. This is always exciting for me. This is my first event as mayor, but I was there 24 years ago when this started, and I don't think I have missed one since. Even when I was wandering in the wilderness out there on injured reserve, I still made it a point to come back here every year for this event because I think it's so important that we celebrate Black history because it is the history of America. You were introduced earlier. They were asked to stand up. Let me recognize them by name. Some of your city council members, Councilmember Harry Cohen, Councilmember Mike Suarez, Councilmember Lisa Monteleone, and Councilmember Mary Mulhern. To the great committee that puts this together, Frank, and to all of the members of this committee, thank you so much. I mean, I know how hard you work all year long to make this an exciting event. It is worthy of the attention that you pay it, and this city owes you a great debt, and I know we appreciate all the work that you do. So, Frank, thank you for doing that. And to all the employees that are here today, particularly the men and the women in the back of the room there, who oftentimes don't get the applause, don't get the recognition that they deserve, you know, who get up every day to do a tough job. You know, they work hard every day for us. They don't ask for applause. They don't ask for recognition. They do it because they love this city and they take pride in their work. So I want all the guys in the back of the room, in the green shirts and the brown shirts, to stand up. Stand up, guys. I want you to know that this mayor appreciates you. And this mayor understands what you do every day. And this mayor understands that you make this city look good, and you make me look good, and you make these council members look good, and you make the senior staff look good. You make us look good. I want to also thank some of the folks that are here with us today, the Bible Truth Ministries Academy, the Rampello Downtown Partnership School Band, the Dwight D. Eisenhower Middle School, and the Mount Pleasant School. Thank you to all of the young people that are here today. And I want you to understand something. You have to know your history, otherwise you're going to make mistakes and repeat the mistakes of the past. So it is so important that we celebrate Black history, because it truly is the history of America. As sometimes sad as it was, it is still our history. We need to embrace it. We need to celebrate it. We need to honor it. We need to move beyond those dark times and those troubled times to a better place. And that's why this is so important. These days, as there is those who run around the country who try to divide us based on race, based us on religion, based on ethnicity, based on preference, that is not the America that we should celebrate. We don't do that here in Tampa. We are better because of our diversity. We are stronger because we celebrate what makes us different. It is what separates us from other cities. It is what makes us more competitive. It is what is right with America. It is what Tampa is all about. And part of that is celebrating the history of the African American experience. For folks who came here not by choice, but by servitude. We need to honor that and celebrate it and highlight the accomplishments of great Americans who happen to be African American. That is what we do today. But it's our calling every day. We need to move beyond the shackles of the past to a much, much brighter future. And each of us, every day, have an obligation to make it better, to never tolerate what we know to be wrong, to stand up for what we know to be right. That's my city, and that's your city. Every day we need to make a difference. Because as it was said long ago, the moment we cease to hold each other, the moment we lose faith with one another, the sea engulfs us and the lights go out. Let's never let the lights go out on Tampa. I have a commendation, proclamation. I'm not going to read it all, but I'll read the important parts because I forgot my glasses. You got any glasses, Frank? No, I don't. Whereas Black History Month provides all of us with the opportunity to transcend stereotypes and appreciate Americans' contributions to science, literature, architecture, industry, music, philosophy, religion, education, and others. Now, therefore, I, Bob Buckhorn, by virtue of the authority vested in me as the mayor of the city of Tampa, Florida, do hereby proclaim the month of February 2012 as Black History Month in the city of Tampa and urge all of our citizens to join me in participating in the various events and celebrations that honor this annual tradition. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Buckhorn. Please join me in welcoming Gregory Hart, a member of the Tampa Bay Black History Committee. He's here to provide the occasion for today's program. Mr. Hart is a graduate of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. He is a Tar Heel from the Michael Jordan collegiate era. They made me put that in there, apparently. Gregory's extensive professional expertise includes program management here at the city and at the county and federal level. Mr. Hart is currently the manager of minority and small business development. Please welcome him.
Thank you, Rod. Good morning, Tampa.
Good morning.
The occasion today can best be described as a celebration, a special celebration of African American history, culture, and scholastic achievement. Our program this morning will also include a special keynote address devoted to principles for financial health and well-being, reining in the finance. Many of you may assume that the underlying theme on financial health is going to center around how to get rich. Let me assure you, that is not how we want to define financial health and wealth management. A bigger income does not always result in bigger savings or financial stability. More often than not, a bigger income results in bigger spending and debt, especially if that debt is not managed well. We want you to be healthy financially and have the ability to foster generational wealth. We hope to inspire you to play an active role in managing your personal and family finances. Today, we are advocating the importance of embracing family financial values. I want to leave you with 10 Wealth for Life principles that we should strive to live by. The first, live within your means. Maximize your income potential through education and training. Effectively manage your budget, credit, debt, and tax obligations. Save at least 10% of your income. Use home ownership as a foundation for building wealth when you can. Devise an investment plan for your retirement needs and your children and grandchildren's education. Ensure that your entire family achieves to sensible money management habits. Support the creation and growth of minority-owned businesses. Let me say that again. Support the creation and growth of minority-owned businesses. I had to get that off my chest. Guarantee that your wealth is passed on to the future generations through proper insurance and estate planning. And last but certainly not least, strengthen your community through charitable giving. The key to financial prosperity is adhering to the biblical command to be a good steward of your money, including supporting your church and your community while still maintaining a frugal lifestyle. Thank you and enjoy the program.
Thank you. Councilman Frank Reddick is a native of Tampa and a champion of its people, but as a representative of District 5, East Tampa holds a special place in his heart. He is here to bring greetings on behalf of the Tampa City Council, the Honorable Frank Reddick.
Good morning. I believe our mayor is going to be sitting in someone's pulpit soon. I don't know if you picked that vibe up. And his next job is going to be a minister. I believe it. I am honored to be here this morning as we celebrate Black History Month. And before I present this commendation, I believe I was given a task to also recognize a few people. And I just want to call, I was trying to write a few names down, so if I miss your name, you're still important. But I'm proud to see here this morning Norman Johnson. Glad to see Reverend John Anderson. Y'all wave your hand, let people see you now. I'm also good to see the chairman of the East Tampa Partnership, Reverend Essie Sims, and as well as Andre White, who is chair of the Evo City Chamber of Commerce. Andrew White, please raise your hand so you can be, thank you. I believe we have Dr. Samuel Wright here. Also good to see Saul Davis and his son from Don Saul Davis Printing. And I'm also proud to see Bob Samuel, who is here, who has a book out now. You know, I stand before you this morning as a proud black man. I'm proud that we have made some success in this country. I'm proud that when I look at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, we see an African American sitting in the White House. I'm also proud that when we travel to Jacksonville, we see the first black mayor. Even when we go to the Sponge City or Tarpon Spring, we see the first black mayor. And I'm also proud when we go to Tallahassee. This person will be here in August. But I'm proud to see the first African American lieutenant governor. But I'm also proud that a white man, filmmaker, decided to invest his own money to bring about awareness for the Tuskegee Airmen. I couldn't even get the word out with the movie Red Tail. And that is George Lucas. This is some proud history that we have. But we also have some downfalls. We still have a struggle. We still have to sacrifice. But we look at the grand picture, I can still stand before you today and say I'm proud black man. So I want to take this opportunity to present, because I don't want Bob to be saying I want to preach. So I want to take this opportunity to present this commendation. And I'm very appreciative of the City of Tampa Black History Committee. And I'm going to ask all of my colleagues on the council to stand at this moment, because it's these individuals who adopted this resolution for me to present today, and they deserve the credit. I just want to say, in recognition of the 24th Annual City of Tampa Black History Celebration, the month of February has been special in the City of Tampa history. It has been celebrated as Black History Month since it was initiated in 1926 by Dr. Carter G. Woodson, founder of the Association for the Study of Negro Life. One of the association purposes was to expose all citizens to the rich heritage of African Americans and the historic struggle, which is a testament to the triumph of human spirit. That continuing tradition of pride, education, and sharing is represented today in the City of Tampa Black History Committee, Incorporated. On behalf of the Tampa City Council, I would like to present this commendation to you, Frank, which is signed by all 7 members of the Tampa City Council.
Thank you, Reverend Reddick. He kind of sounded like a preacher, too. Now, I'm just saying. All right, next we're going to have a group of skilled musicians known for playing a variety of tunes and delivering show-stopping performances. And if you've never heard of them before now, after today, you will likely never forget them. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome and join me in welcoming the distinguished men of brass.
outside. I say, can I count it off? Count it off. Can I count it off? Count it off. Let me see what the people say. What? Can I count it off? Let me get it. Can I count it off? Hey. One more time. Can I count it off? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Man, let's give them another round of applause, the distinguished men of brass. Anybody else looking around for the football team to show back up? I feel like I'm at a football game. I missed all of football season this year, so I finally got a taste of football season. They were awesome. Thank you guys very much. If you're in need of a home loan or help with your mortgage, Lenore Russell is someone that you should consider talking to. She's worked in the housing arena for more than 20 years. She's also vice president of the City of Tampa's Black History Committee. But if you talk to her family, they'll tell you she is much more than that. She's a loving wife and a mother who spoils her grandkids every chance she gets. Ms. Russell, if you would just come forward with some special acknowledgments this morning. Please give her a welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I am so excited to be here. I am very happy to be here and proud to be here. Proud to be a city employee, a City of Tampa employee. Once again, the community has come together for the City of Tampa's 24th Annual Black History Celebration. And once again, we are focused on a topic completely relevant to times like these. City employees, like many in the private sector and all over the United States, the world for that matter, have been affected by the economic downturn. Indirectly or directly suffer job loss through a person or persons in their respective households. You know, we wanted to kind of sugarcoat it, but that's just the way it is. Nobody wants to get a pink slip. But despite the circumstances, they continue to give of themselves, the City of Tampa employees, to each other, to their communities, and to the charities of their choice. The City of Tampa employees should be applauded, and we ask that you do so now. Applaud yourself. Thank you for and a few of the city employees here have been at it a little longer than others. And we would like for, if you're in the audience, City of Tampa employees that have been with the City of Tampa over 10 years to stand right now and be applauded. 10 years and over, stand and remain standing. And we do have some that have been 20 years and more. The 20 years and more keep standing. Wow. 30 years? What about 30 years? We got some from 30 years? And believe it or not, too, we have some over 40 years. A couple of them I know personally. I don't know that they're here. One is Joy Stevens, and the other one works for City Council. Catherine, are you here? Y'all stand up, please. They've been with the City of Tampa over 40 years. So we do thank you, and we do applaud you. And just as important, as much importance and significance, are our sponsors. Some of these guys up here have already made it easier for me, but they deserve all the recognition that they get. They too have continued to faithfully give in tough economic times. And one of our biggest sponsors, our longest tenured, of course, is the City of Tampa, led by Mayor Buck Horn, because we couldn't do this without him and without his support. Also, the City of Tampa Convention Center, this beautiful facility we get to enjoy with our Black History Celebration. Mr. Rick Hamilton is the new CEO over here. If you would stand, please. Rick J. Hamilton. But we just want to recognize him. We want to recognize Busch Gardens, because they've been a staple for many years. And again, Mr. Gerard Hepner, we could not do it without you. Thank you. Also, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tampa, and Michelle Palara and Ms. Sonia Welch are here. Please stand and be recognized. We appreciate you and we thank you. The Richmond Group, they've been giving us some big bucks these last couple of years, and we appreciate that. Anyone representing the Richmond Group? Mr. Todd Fabry is our contact there. And we thank you as well. Many out there, the Florida Sentinel Bulletin, Bright House Network, Regions Bank, with Mr. David Christian, Tampa Electric Company, all, of course, are listed in our program. We couldn't do this program without you. We couldn't reach out to the community. We go to Whispering Oaks Convalescent Center during the holidays, and it just brings such joy to their hearts to see us and joy to our hearts to be there. Also, one of the most important things that the City of Tampa Black History Committee does is to provide scholarships. And through the money and donations of our sponsors and city employees, we've so far topped almost $70,000 in scholarships, and we want to double that. But we really, really thank you and appreciate you, our sponsors, and our City of Tampa employees. So enjoy the program, the rest of it.
A reminder as you leave this afternoon, once the program is over, there's a table outside the door there with a lot of free items that you are welcome to take part in and to take home with you. Just wanted to let you know about that. The City of Tampa's Black History Committee does not just focus on Tampa's past. Through programs like the Black History Living Museum and the Passport to Excellence Youth Symposium, and by awarding scholarships to deserving high school students, the committee is helping the history makers of tomorrow, and we thank them for that. And now here to introduce our most esteemed speaker is Gregory Spearman. A little bit about Mr. Spearman. He was born and raised in Glenwood, Georgia, but of course now calls Tampa home. He is the Director of Purchasing for the City of Tampa and manages a staff of about 40 people and responsible for the day-to-day operations of the acquisition of various goods and services. Give a warm welcome to Mr. Gregory Spearman.
Good morning to everyone. Good morning. And thank you, Rod, for that introduction. Our speaker for the day owns a company by the name of Bonafide Credit Consultants, where she is a financial management, consulting, and credit counseling entrepreneur. And this company has been in existence since 2007 to present day. She also has held various positions at the TCM Bank from 1998 to the present as a senior credit officer, Vice President of Credit and Collections, and also Vice President of Collections and Recovery. She also was a credit policy manager at Service Merchandise from 1997 to 1998, and that position was in the corporate office location of Brentwood, Tennessee. She's also held several positions at Sears from 1989 to 1997, including being a credit manager trainee, credit authorization manager, account services manager, credit authorizations manager, group manager of accounting processing, and she had the dual role of being a management recruiter and also a group asset manager while at Sears. And this is from 1989 to 1997. She holds a BA degree in business management with a concentration in economics from North Carolina State University in Raleigh, North Carolina. And she has many recognitions and accomplishments in the local community and beyond. She was featured on the cover story of Collections and Credit Risk, and she was featured in the story, The Leading Lights, 5 Women That You Should Know. She was also featured again in September of 2007 in Credit and Collection Risk in a story regarding legal strategy, Which Lane Makes Sense. She was also a guest panelist at the 16th Annual Credit Card Collections Conference in October 27, where she spoke on the topic of global best practices. She's also an active member of TOBA, and she is a member of E-Women's Network since April of 2009. She was selected to be University of South Florida School of Business mentor from 2009 to 2011. She is a founding, governing, and advisory board member from 2009 to 2000 and present of the Arthur T. Jones Math, Science, and Technology Academy, which is a Hillsborough County charter school. And she was also nominated as a finalist for the Tampa Business Woman of the Year for the years 2007 to 2010. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you our speaker for the program, Pamala S. McCoy.
Thank you, Greg, for that introduction. Good morning, and I hope you all are having as blessed a day as I am being here today in celebration of the 24th Annual City of Tampa Black History Celebration. Before we begin, if you would please join me in a round of applause for the City of Tampa's Black Heritage Committee for making this world-class event such a success. I would also like to congratulate our mayor and the city council members for being here in support of such an event and for all that you do in our community. Because of their efforts, the city of Tampa is a city that's moving and going places and achieving great things for all of its citizens. I think that it's fitting that our community would turn its thoughts today to the American dream. Recently, after celebrating the Martin Luther King celebration and his birthday, I believe that Dr. King would really appreciate that and be grateful because he had an American dream for every American. And that included not just social justice, but economic success for each and every American as well. So reflecting on our own economic success and home finances just seems appropriate for today, especially in the aftermath of the financial excesses of Wall Street and corporate America and our current economic situation. Another motivation to reflect on our personal finances is the heated political debate over the nation's economy as well as the mounting pressures on our government to reduce its aid and assistance. So let's delve into the topic of today, reigning in our personal finances and reshaping our American dream, so that we'll all be able to reshape our personal dreams of owning homes, not only just owning homes, but owning homes that we can afford, and more importantly, owning homes that we can keep. We need to also improve our creating wealth for not only for ourselves, but for generations to come. As Dr. King said, everything that is done in the world is done by hope. And I hope for today's event is that everyone in our community will use this occasion to take and maintain a proactive approach to financial planning in our own lives. I tell you, that's my professional and my personal conviction, and the reason why I'm here today to share this hope of a wonderful message for us today. And also the reason why I created my company, Bonafide Credit Consultants, and that is to help people to achieve goals of sound money management. I believe to be bona fide financially, working together, we need to educate, empower, and evolve our community members so that we can follow Dr. King's urging to face the difficulties not only of today, but the difficulties of tomorrow, and still have a dream so deeply rooted in the American dream. It's now time for us to turn a page in history on this era of financial recklessness, to more importantly, more than ever before, to take full responsibility for our own financial destiny. And we can when we know how. And know-how comes from education, financial education. In America, education and hard work is what makes dreams happen. Let me say that again. Education and hard work is what makes dreams happen. As we all know, our mayor holds great aspirations for the American dream right here in Tampa and has a plan for economic success that includes all of us in making Tampa the city in America that everyone else is talking about. The mayor believes that Tampa's strength lies in its neighborhoods, and I would also add to that wisdom that it includes financial strength and the well-being of its citizens as well. To build strong neighborhoods, we must continue to encourage people to purchase homes, which represents the majority of personal wealth for all Americans. To that end, the Buckhorn administration has established first-time home buyer initiative programs under the Tampa Housing Authority through the Office of Neighborhood Empowerment. These initiatives will provide technical support for the first-time home buyers to help them to learn the rights and responsibilities of home ownership, as well as the importance of participating in neighborhoods. However, the first step to home ownership and to qualify for a home loan is getting our financial houses in order, which is all we know is a challenge for us in this community. In support of that need, Bonafide exists to play a role in helping prepare members of our community to achieve the blessings of financial success. That kind of success leads to home ownership. The mayor believes, as I do, that all of our destinies here in Tampa are interrelated. And the inescapable reality is that whatever affects one destiny affects all. That said, we need to educate ourselves, to manage our finances wisely, and to live a life of empowerment that economic self-sufficiency will bring. Remember, when we know better, we do better. Why education? Education provides us with the tools and the know-how to attain financial health and well-being. And what about empowerment? Empowerment is about using that knowledge to manage our finances every day, and having the courage and the discipline to use these tools to their maximum benefit. The empowerment not only strengthens us as individuals, but also provides the financial power to strengthen our neighborhoods, to strengthen our city, to strengthen our nation. Another benefit from empowerment is that we get financial education to accumulate wealth that leads to economic independence. And accumulating wealth generated from economic independence helps us to generate lasting wealth, as our money works for us to create increasing wealth, which when we pass on to a financially educated and savvy next generation can be the launch pad for even greater wealth and prosperity for the future. Empowerment is all about living today to meet our needs while living below our means to accumulate wealth for tomorrow. In sum, empowerment is knowing the difference between our needs and our wants, and knowing that satisfying our needs often means foregoing some of our wants to accumulate wealth for the future. As inspirational speaker Terry Hershey offers, no positive change can occur in my life as long as I cling to the thought that the reason that I'm not living well lies outside of myself. In other words, we all must be a part of the change that we desire for our lives. And living in this reality empowers us to help us to evolve towards financial maturity. You see, being empowered is about using power, the money of power, to buy power. Spending wisely in ways that will not only give us the goods and services, but also gives us influence and political power, gives us a voice in deciding the direction of our community, the direction of our nation. Because at the end of the day, it's really not about what we make, it's about what we keep. That's why we must apply what we've learned and feel empowered to take full control of our own financial destinies, for that is the surest path to achieving our own American dream. So when we begin to live by this wisdom, that what we keep for ourselves and our futures is most important, not what we have materially today, then we have truly evolved to a higher wisdom that's found in financial maturity. Today, like never before, we're faced with challenging economic climate with little relief in sight. We must evolve to adapt to not only survive in this climate, but to thrive in it, while making our own American dreams come true. Both education and empowerment help us to evolve into making necessary sacrifices today that's going to give us tremendous economic independence tomorrow. Further, education and empowerment also allows us to evolve beyond existing today's economic struggles, but to most of us know all too well, to one of prosperity. Another benefit of physical, F-I-S-C-A-L, financial health, is that it will reduce the negative impact and stress on our physical, P-H-Y-S-I-C-A-L, health and general outlook on life. For once we have moved from poverty to prosperity, we can begin to really enjoy the fruits of the American dream. But first, we have to get our financial houses in order so that we can participate in the American dream, particularly in the form of financial freedom. Educate, empower, evolve are the steps that bona fide coaches clients through to achieve good financial health and well-being. Evolving to a higher wisdom to stick to the financial plan is the most difficult, and what financial consultants at Bonafide is their greatest service to its customers, and the reason that it's imperative, let me stress that again, it's imperative that we begin today to work to make a lasting positive difference in our own lives. Remember, we're not where we want to be, we're not where we thought we'd be, but we're right where God would have us to be. And that is positioned for a meaningful change to reign in our finances, to reshape the American dream through education, empowerment, and evolution. An interesting point to note is that this mission falls right in line with the statement in this year's State of the Union address when our president challenged all of us to work together for an America built to last. That begins with each and every citizen taking responsibility and control of their own destiny, and the impact that it can have on the destiny of our community and the destiny of our nation. When we act together as one, there's no challenge too great, and there's no goal that we can't achieve. If you recall, Dr. King left us a guiding beacon on the journey to financial well-being when he said, "Human progress never rolls in on the wheels of inevitability. It comes through tireless effort of people willing to be co-workers with God." To educate, to empower, to evolve has never been more critical to our individual and collective economic success than it is today. It is my hope and dream that these principles can help you succeed in achieving your own American dream to build Tampa and a nation that's built to last. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you for the opportunity to be here. And remember, educate, empower, evolve. God bless.
Pamela, before you take your seat, the City of Tampa Black History Committee would just like to show you a little bit of appreciation for your speech today. Were all of you taking notes? Well, there will be a quiz on what she said one way or another in your lives, so please make sure you are taking notes. Some of you are probably A students already, but if you're not, this is the opportunity to remember what she has said here and maybe even set up a consultation with her. One way or another, though, what she's talked about today in terms of the American dream and your role in it is very important. We are here today because we take it very seriously. Everyone is up here because we all have a role to play in our economic evolution, as you say. And right now, we just want to thank you on behalf of the City of Tampa Black History Committee for your role in today's program, Reigning in Finance, Reshaping the American Dream. Thank you for your contribution to the City of Tampa.
Let's give her another round of applause. Those are certainly words that we can all live by, but I hope everybody right in this section, these young folks, were paying close attention to that, because if you know that now, that can save you a world of hurt later. I ain't telling you what I heard. I ain't telling you what somebody told me. I'm telling you what I know. So you guys pay attention to that. It's very important. We'd like to welcome Mr. Crum back up just for a moment, and he has a special presentation as well, and just a few words of thanks. And that's for you.
You know, I've got to say that it has been a pleasure to be here today. And getting to this podium right now, believe it or not, there are a lot of people standing behind me. You don't see them. Actually, they're out there. But I've got to mention them. The City of Tampa Black History Committee, can you please stand and be recognized? We've got several people here from Linda Williams, Mark Wilfalt, Arthur Parker, Shirley Fox Knowles, Tanya Brickhouse, Sonia Little, James Jackson, Wanda Thompson, Anthony Grace, and there are several others in the back there. And if you were next door, how many of you all had a chance to go next door and take a look at the Black History Living Museum and the expo? That didn't just pop up out of nowhere. There were people over there who made that possible. Miss B.J. Slayton, Andrea, Miss B.J. Slayton, Diane Davis, where are you? Please stand to be recognized. Debbie Mercer, Devon Harbin, Halsey Pelt, where are you? If you look at this program, with the help of Mr. Halsey Pelt and Regina Bird, we have this wonderful program. Isn't it very nice? We also have a very nice calendar. And there are several individuals I'm sure that you will see in the audience who are featured in our commemorative calendar. And then we have Mr. Naaman Johnson. He had the Lexus outside. I'm sure many of you saw that on your way in. You can talk to him about that later, but please stand to be recognized. Lexus of Tampa Bay is another one of our incredible sponsors, as well as Bright House Networks. And then I also must mention that not only do we have profound speakers, they often come back. So we're definitely inviting you back again, Mrs. McCoy, again to our celebration, to be a spectator or also to present. We also have another former speaker here with us today, Dr. Keith Berry. Please stand, sir. Right next door, we do have refreshments. There are a few other people that I would like to mention, Mr. Jim Pinckney, Mr. Ed Johnson, Mr. Jose Valentine. If I did not call your name, know that you are in my heart. Blame it on the head and not the heart. I've been up since early this morning getting ready for this. But I do want to also give a special thanks to the gentleman to my left. We all know, and if you didn't know, you know now, that Mr. Carter attended Florida A&M University. So, and I see some rattlers over there as a part of the distinctive men of brass. So if we could just have a quick drum roll on his behalf. Something on the snare very quickly. Snare drum very quickly. All right. On behalf of the City of Tampa Black History Committee, we present Mr. Rod Carter, Florida A&M graduate, News Channel 8, with this basket of appreciation from InDesign. Thank you so much, sir.
Would everybody who went to FAMU just raise your hand just for a second? Okay, do not come to me because y'all ain't get none of this.
To all of you, again, thank you for being here. To everyone watching at home, thank you. Thank you, City of Tampa Television, for broadcasting us to the world. Thank you, schools, for participating in the Black History Living Museum, Rampello, Downtown Partnership School. Yeah, stand up. We need to know who you are. That's right. Eisenhower Middle School, stand up. Bible Truth Ministries, stand up. Mount Pleasant, stand up. Ladies and gentlemen, you are looking at our future history makers, our trailblazers. They're right here. Mayor Bob Buckhorn is definitely creating a different aspect in our city in terms of the economic DNA. And you will see in the future that they're going to be the proof of what he's doing right now. Again, thank you all for being here. Mr. Carter.
I got all excited about it. I was taking pictures of the bag so I can show my friends so they couldn't see it. All right, thank you all very much for being here. Thank you for allowing me to be here again. This does conclude our program. Almost.
This happens to me quite often. And I have to do this because, again, I have to say, blame it on the head and not the heart. I did not get up this morning by myself. No, I did not. See, there was a special young lady that got me up this morning to make sure that I was here on time. So I must ask my wife, Sherelle Crump, to please stand and be recognized. There she is right there. So thank you all for allowing me to be here. Mom, Dad, thank you as well.
Thank you all for being here today, and have a wonderful and blessed rest of your day. Thank you.
Come on. Look, saving money is an all-year-round process, isn't it?
Absolutely. Pamela McCoy from Bonafide Credit is back with some tips on what to buy when over the next few months. Pamela, good to have you back.
Thank you. Good to be back.
Well, let's talk about February. What should we be buying in February?
February is a good month, so Jerry, you're just in time. A good time to buy furniture.
I need a couple of things. Yeah.
The manufacturers are moving things out to get their spring lines in, so you can get some really good deals on all kinds of furniture.
All right, so March is what, the sparkly stuff?
March is the sparkly stuff. Jewelry. Valentine's is behind us. Mother's Day is coming, so there's going to be lots and lots of sales on all types of jewelry.
So start thinking after Valentine's about buying for next year, maybe.
Absolutely.
Yeah, think ahead, way ahead.
Planning ahead, and when you're talking finance and budgeting, it's all about planning.
Okay. April.
April. Well, even though it's a good time to do it all year round, the March-April time period is really good for thrift stores and Goodwill and things of that nature. When you think about it, folks are doing their spring cleaning, and what do you do with your items when you're going through your clothes and furniture and things of that nature? You're going to donate it to Goodwill and some of the thrift stores.
You can get some good, solid,
absolutely
amazing deals.
Yeah.
Good deals, and it's different than yard sales because it's one-stop shopping.
That's right.
I've gotten some terrific things at thrift stores and Goodwills, and it's amazing. Some people's trash, other people's treasure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now let's sort of think about the summer months in total. There's some really good bargains during the summer, aren't there?
Absolutely. When you're thinking about mattresses, and an interesting tip about mattresses is in that industry, you can actually haggle and negotiate, even if it's a chain store, and most people aren't aware of that. And it's not always about necessarily reducing the price of the mattress. It might be what can you throw in? Can you throw in a box spring, some nice pillows, things of that nature.
Free shipping.
Free
Bring
shipping.
it to my house.
All those things tied into, so take that opportunity to haggle and get some really good deals on some mattresses. Another thing, laptops come into play because you're now getting ready for back to school. So there'll be excellent pricing as it relates to laptops.
Wedding dresses, because it's wedding season, right?
It's the height of the wedding season, and those weddings that are occurring in June, typically those dresses are already purchased. But as you're attending weddings and you're getting the bug and the feel for it, of course, they want to draw you in at that point to start getting all of your wedding necessities, the dresses, the jewelry, the planning, all of those things.
Is it a good time to buy a car in the summer?
It's a good time to buy a car because, they're, again, like the matches, they're bringing in the spring line of things, and so they're trying to get those old model cars off of the lot.
Okay, now let's talk about fall because it'll be here. Summer just flies by always.
Absolutely.
What's a good thing to buy in the fall?
Well, you know, summer's over, so your lawnmowers, patio furniture, all of those kind of things are going to be on sale because they're trying to clear room for the holiday season that's coming up.
I don't know if I can wait that long. I need a weed whacker stat. We keep getting them from other people and they don't work. That's the problem. They're just seized up.
Electronics?
Electronics are good, again, because now we're approaching the holiday season. So electronics, the Black Fridays, all the super sales related to Thanksgiving, Christmas, and all of those things.
So in the fall, you should get some patio furniture?
Absolutely.
Because it's
The
really
summer's
at the
over.
height in the spring, so
Right.
don't get it then.
Exactly.
Washer dryers?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I wouldn't think that.
Why?
Washer dryers, because appliances, you know, again, everyone's trying to move out the old inventory before year end to get in the new inventory. So it's a good time to buy those things. And always just kind of think in general out of season. When you're buying things out of season, that's when you'll typically get your best deals.
And bicycles.
Bicycles, the same concept. During the winter months, and of course not so much here in Florida because we're warm year round.
Lovely.
But bicycles, you typically wouldn't be using them during the winter months. So you're preparing for the spring and the summer.
And real quickly, the holiday sales are always a good time to
Always
get everything,
a good time.
right?
Everything, and even pre-planning and after the holidays, preparing for the next year. You know, your wrapping paper, your Christmas trees, and all those things. The after holiday sales is a good time to prepare for the following year.
Get your Halloween lights too. Pamela
Absolutely.
McCoy, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be right back.
On Black Friday, people will cram into stores bright and early, fight the crowds to start their holiday shopping. And one gift that always keeps on giving? Gift cards.
Probably birthdays, Mother's Day, Christmas. Yeah, frequent enough.
They are quick, they are easy, and extremely accessible. I mean, they're everywhere you look nowadays. And if you have that one person you just can't buy for, gift cards tend to work out very well.
Usually the people that I receive them from know me.
Annually, more people buy them than you might imagine.
And I'm talking big numbers when it comes to gift cards here in the United States. In fact, $100 billion, that's billion with a B, is spent on gift cards every single year. And of that number, 93% of those folks, U.S. consumers, either buy or receive a gift card and on average spend about $213 for them.
But what happens when, and it does happen a lot, you don't like, want, or even use that gift card? Although 90% of gift cards are used in the first 60 days, almost $1 billion worth goes unused every year.
You know, statistically speaking, there's about $30 billion sitting in someone's drawer or wallet or right now not being used.
Financial expert Pamala McCoy, owner of Bonafide Credit Consultants, says there are a number of options for unused or unwanted gift cards. 8 on Your Side has some good tips for you. Number 1, turn plastic into cash. A number of websites offer that option. Keep in mind, though, there are pros and cons.
And, you know, another pro would be, you know, you're getting cash. But a con might be that how you're receiving the cash. So they might send you a check, so you have the delay, you know, for the mailing, or they might require that you receive your monies via PayPal.
Another possibility, you could just pay it forward. The easiest thing to do with that gift card, just wrap it up and send it as a gift to someone who could use it.
If I know somebody, like one of my daughters, that uses that, I will give it to them.
And then another option, donate it to charity. Some websites will let you use the balance on your card to make a charitable donation. That is also tax deductible, so it's kind of a win-win. And of course, you can always just trade up.
You would then have to purchase the card for the merchant that you like at the same value of the one you're trading in or higher, and then they actually credit the account. So there's some fees associated. Again, you're not getting 100% of face value.
Something is better than nothing to keep some cheer in the holidays, but whatever you do, do something.
I'm always looking for value, though, so I wouldn't toss it.
And again, there are a number of websites where you can buy, sell, or trade those gift cards, but just keep in mind that when you do that, Keith, you're actually going to possibly lose a little bit of money because you're not maybe going to get all the face value of the gift card.
What do you got here?
I actually got a gift card the other day, just yesterday in the mail, to Neiman Marcus. So.
For what, like 50 bucks? So I'm guessing if it's a 50 bucks, you're going to spend a little bit more than $50.
I'm going to have to probably spend a little bit more than $50 unless I get one really small thing at Neiman Marcus. But, you know, 72% of the customers who actually get gift cards spend about 20% more than what the gift card is worth. So if you get rid of them and you actually use them, you can do some pretty good damage.
Yeah, but stores are counting on that too.
Exactly.
Come and spend some more. All right, thank you, Rod. And our 8 on Your Side digital team has gathered links to websites that let you buy, sell, or trade unwanted gift cards. Just click on Rod's story on the homepage of WFLA.com.
We all want our money to work for us, so it's important to pay attention to what we're doing with it. Our financial panel is here to get our affairs in order and answer more questions. Welcome back to Steve Overton, Pamela McCoy, and Brian Mahoney. Okay, you three, we've gone out to the streets, and our viewers have questions for you, so let's take a look at the first one.
How much per paycheck should I put away for my 401k?
Brian?
Great question. As much as you can. How's that? Literally, if you're in your 20s, you should try and target 10%. If you're trying to do catch-up, as you get to your 30s, you're going to increase it to 20. And then literally, if you haven't started and you're in your 40s, you need to be trying to put away 30%. But at a bare minimum, make sure you're putting in an amount that your company's going to match. So if your company's giving away free money, don't let it slip through your fingers. I've had a number of conversations actually in the past few weeks with staff members, making sure that they're putting away the proper amount to get that free money that's coming in every year. So the more you can put, the merrier. As you get in your 50s, make sure you can do the catch-up so you can increase that dollar amount, but the more you can put away, the better off you are.
Good advice.
Also, though, if you put in too much, then when you need it, you got a problem. You're doing a loan, you're doing a hardship withdrawal. It's important to have an emergency fund.
Okay.
Got to have cash on hand.
So I would add to that.
You don't want to use that 401k as a savings account.
Absolutely. Got it. You have to be able to get it. Okay, number 2.
When can I check my credit score, and when can I check it for free?
When can I check my credit score?
You can check your credit score at annualcreditreport.com. You get your free annual credit report from each of those three reporting agencies every year. And on that site, you actually have to pay for your score. It's a nominal fee, less than $10, but you do have to pay for your score on that website.
And I know there is a free website through the government, but if you look it up, just put government free credit report, you'll find it. And we've done that before. Okay, next question, please.
As a young 25-year-old entrepreneur in this economy today, my question is, how would someone in my position in a small startup business go about finding investors or small business loans in an economy like this that poses such a threat to us?
Well, the Small Business Administration is highly involved in the business of trying to provide financing for businesses that are startups, but you know, you also have to be very careful where you put money into something like that. I can think of a small coffee shop I'm aware of that doesn't have a drive-thru. It's very difficult to make money in the coffee shop business in a restaurant like that without a drive-thru. I see a lot, this is sort of not exactly to his question, but there's tremendous risk in investing in small businesses. Someone has an idea for a restaurant or a small bar they've always wanted to own or something like that. Here comes $5,000 from each of their friends, and that bar's going to be gone in a year. So,
are the banks not willing, though, to give small business loans?
It's difficult with the economy being what it is. It's very difficult, but to that end,
particularly when you're a small business or an entrepreneur, your personal credit is going to weigh heavily because the business doesn't have any credit history.
Right.
So it's very important that you get your own credit in order if you're thinking about, entrepreneurship.
And if you are looking for that startup funds, look up venture capitalists in your area, wherever you're at. Once you find what they're called VCs, once you find a venture capitalist, look at them, find some of their past histories, get some references. Most important thing is references with venture capitalists, and you've got to understand the rates that you're paying to get some of that startup seed money gets very aggressive to where you need to understand the numbers, but the SBA is the best place to start. They're really going to educate you, and it's SBA.gov, and that's really going to get you going.
So they may believe in your business, but they're looking for some type of return in return. Definitely. Okay, let's take a look at our last one.
I'm a college freshman, and I just want to know how using loans for school can affect my future.
Well, we know this. Those aren't loans that you don't pay off.
Absolutely.
You may be able to defer paying on certain loans, but in terms of college loans, they get their tentacles all over your life if you don't pay them back. So it's not something you want to play with.
And it's a little different than creditors. The government has full reign as it relates to that. So it's not something you can file bankruptcy on and things of that nature to walk away from that debt. So loans, though they're important, I would suggest that you evaluate scholarships and grants and things of that nature that you don't have to pay back.
Right.
And even working your way through school. And it may take you a little longer, but of course, when you walk across that stage with your diploma, you're debt-free.
Exactly. Nothing wrong with that. All right, Steve, Pamela, and Brian, thank you all very, very much. Daytime, we'll be right back. No one can argue that the internet hasn't made life easier. Almost everything is available at our fingertips, from fun to finance. Today we want to give you some tips to ensure your online experience is safe and responsible. And to do that, we've got Pamela McCoy here from Bonafide Credit. Good to have you back, Pamela.
Thank you. Good to be back.
So before you go online, have a plan in place, right?
Plan in place, your decision-making process, because it's so easy to get caught up in, the advertisements or pop-ups that come up that will persuade or influence you, the temptation to buy things that you had no intention of buying when you logged on to the website.
Happens to me all the time.
Yes. Another important thing is to make sure that the website is legitimate, and you can do that from checking the Better Business Bureau, the Attorney General's website. And another key thing is to make sure when you're purchasing from any website that it's secured. And how do you identify that? HTTPS at the end, or that has the padlock at the bottom of the website to let you know that it's a secure site.
You really have to watch for that.
Yes, you do.
Now, I must tell you, every day I get emails that say, act now, because if you don't do this by the end of the day, you're never going to see this deal again. And sometimes I'm a sucker for it.
And that's the temptation that we were speaking about in the decision-making process. Don't allow the website or the ads or what have you to persuade you to buy something that you had no intention of buying to begin with.
They're really studying our habits, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Because now they're targeting me all the time. They pop up with things that they know I'm going to like.
Yes, when you're going on sites shopping, cookies are running behind the scenes to determine your behaviors. And so, of course, they want to target market. So if you buy golf stuff all the time, for example, then each time you log onto a site, there might be a golf ad that pops up.
Sure. And sometimes it's happened to a lot of people. They sign up for something. They're not really sure what it is, because it'll take you to other places.
Exactly.
The next thing you know, you've got a membership fee, or you've automatically been renewed, and you have no idea what's happening. And then you see this bill show up on your Visa, and you go, how'd that happen?
And sometimes it's because we're so aggressive in our online. A pop-up came up, and when you clicked, you actually clicked on the pop-up, which took you to the alternate site as opposed to the site that you thought that you were on.
Okay, let's talk about brick to click. What do you mean by that?
Brick to click, and that's related to banking. It's always ideal to pick a bank that has a brick and mortar building, because if you're doing something online as relates to your banking, you can always go into the actual mortar building to speak with someone if you have issues. Some of the online banks fly by night, things go wrong, and it's really a hassle to try to get things resolved.
We've all seen an email, most of us anyway, that said, I have pictures for you to see. And we go, and the first thing instinct is, oh, who sent me a picture?
Exactly.
Well, it's not anybody you know.
Exactly. You should never, ever, ever click on a link in an email or on a text message. That's phishing or smishing.
Smishing?
Smishing.
What's a smish?
It's the same as phishing, but phishing is through the email, where they're sending you an email with a link or trying to obtain information about you, your private information. And if they're texting you, then they call it smishing. But the same rules apply. You should never click on a link on an unsolicited email or text, because it's haphazard and could be spyware.
Is there anything we can do to block that?
Not really. I mean, because those that are trying to do the vicious things, the sites are changing all the time. And so it's kind of counterproductive to try to keep up with their changing.
Now, I pay all my bills online. What advice do you have?
Online banking and paying your bills, one, you need, again, make sure that you're on a secure website. So if you're at a coffee shop or what have you, those sites are public. So I wouldn't recommend paying bills when you're at a coffee shop or the library, some of these public networks. And you always have to be cautious of people who are shoulder surfing. You're not aware, you know, particularly on a plane, you're in close quarters or what have you, and someone's sitting right next to you. When you're clicking and typing, all that information is right there for them to procure.
Same with at the cash, because so many of us just whip out the card. And then you've got 20 people behind you. You're doing your easy code, and they're all going, that's interesting.
Exactly. So you always need to be kind of cautious of your surroundings. Even the ATM machines, when you're getting your cash out, you know, the etiquette is that the person stands several feet behind you, but not always the case. You look around and the person next in line is right over your shoulder.
Right. That's kind of bad. Let's talk about the importance of changing our passwords. Most people stick with the same password just so they can remember it.
Right. And another thing with your password, you should change it on a regular basis. Most IT folks will tell you that 16 characters or more is a stronger password, and a lot of websites will give you the green bar as to the strength of your password. And more so than like a month and a date, it should be a mixture of capital versus lowercase versus numbers, and ideally it's a phrase.
Okay, there's not going to be any 16 letters for me. Pamela McCoy, thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with more Daytime. Stick around.
Thanks, Gary. Many people are getting ready for retirement, and they're worried that they won't be able to save enough to last. And people already in retirement worry that they will outlive their nest eggs. Well, here with some financial tips is Pamela McCoy from Bonafide Credit. Good to have you back.
Pleasure to be here.
So, all right, what's the difference between retirement today versus when our parents retired?
Well, when you think about it, back then when our parents were retiring, things are pretty simple. You work on a job for 30 years, you get a gold watch, you draw your pension, you tap into Social Security, and you kind of convert your financial portfolio to bonds because they were conservative and they were pretty stable. But in today's world, retirement is a little more complex. You still work the 30 years. Companies aren't doing the gold watch as much.
They're not giving anything anymore.
And you might be lucky to get a pension because all companies don't offer pensions at this point. Another change is instead of converting your financial portfolio, you want to keep it more diversified. You want to have some stocks in there versus bonds because you got to try to pace with inflation.
Right. Okay, so where should people begin?
Well, with a budget.
Okay.
Even pre-retirement as well as into retirement, you need to have a budget, and that's going to kind of help guide your finances. And you need to make sure that in that budget you're accounting for some key expenses, things that you're not thinking about in retirement. Your co-pays are going to go up because you're getting older. You're going to go to the doctor more frequently.
Right.
You know,
but doesn't Medicare kick in and help with those expenses?
They do, but they don't cover things like dental and optical, and so some of those things you're going to have to be prepared to cover on your own.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Tips for planning that budget. I mean, I guess one of the best things you can do if you are getting any kind of a paycheck is to have the money automatically leave your paycheck. You don't even have to see it, touch it.
Exactly.
And it happens.
And when it's gone, before you see it, you don't really miss it. True. You factor and live your lifestyle based on what you have. But a budget is key because you want to live within your means and not try to keep up with the Joneses. And you always have to keep in the back of your mind retirement. You're always planning for retirement. And so the decisions that you make today are going to affect your ability to retire comfortably.
Are the days of retirement at 55 totally gone?
Pretty much. I mean, and even the length of time in retirement, and again, that's why budgeting is so important. You know, in the past, in our parents' era, you know, people were retired for maybe 10 years. Now you've got to plan to live in retirement years, 30 plus years.
Yeah.
And so your nest egg needs to be bigger to begin with because you're living longer.
A lot of people are still hopeful about the Social Security. Is it realistic to think that we will actually have that 10, 20 years down the road?
I don't want to say no because it's so pessimistic, but I would recommend that your plan is though it will not exist. It could go away if they don't make some changes now, then it may not exist. And even if it does exist, it'll be so minimal, it'll be almost as though it's a tip on your meal as opposed to being able to pay for your meal with those money. So,
okay, what do you recommend for people who have already retired, but they're now running out of money?
Well, if you're able, I would recommend re-entering the workforce. You know, or maybe even give some thought to entrepreneurship, you know, some type of revenue driving business that you can do with little or no startup capital. because that might be an issue in retirement years, getting that capital. But yeah, and in worst case scenario, you might have to downsize, meaning, go from a house to a condo. You might need to consider reverse mortgage or moving in with family.
Oh, well, actually, sometimes that can be fun. Pamela McCoy, thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
We'll be right back.
It's Financial Friday and time to talk about developing a spending plan. Our financial expert, Pamela McCoy of Bonafide Credit Consultants, joins us now to talk more about those spending plans. Also, right off the bat, want to remind folks that you can learn more about our financial expert by going to her website. We made that easy by linking it to ours, tbo.com, under the word link. So be sure to check it out. All right, welcome, Pamela.
Welcome. Thank you.
First of all, right off the bat, who should have a spending plan?
Everyone should have a spending plan.
Okay, that's a pretty easy answer. Why is it important to do that?
It's important because a spending plan, I use that, and that's my preferred verbiage as opposed to a budget. A budget kind of sounds constraining.
Okay.
Whereas a spending plan is really the same thing, but it is in effect telling you that you're structurally spending.
Okay, so how do we get started with one? I mean, it seems like a daunting task.
Well, it's easy to begin. What you need to do first off is kind of a month would probably be more accurate, but people won't track their spending for a whole month.
Okay.
So I have my clients track their spending for a week. And in that week, you track everything that you spend. If you go to the gas station and run in and get a bag of potato chips and a soda, you log all of that.
Okay,
and
I have to stop you. I tried this, and it lasted about 2 days. I mean, it's true. I'm just being honest.
You've got to do it for about a week so we can kind of identify the areas of where you're spending your money. You'd be surprised how the money went in your wallet and it's gone, and you really didn't even realize where it went.
Is it easier to just keep a hold of the receipts and then just mark it all down or write it in a book, or what do you do?
Whatever works. We just need to get the data. So you can do it daily, you could do it upon each stop, or you could accumulate it at the end of the week.
What does all that information help you do?
For me, what I do is I take that information and we identify some things that we might be able to do away with in terms of your plan to get out of debt.
Okay.
I'm not one for deprivation, but I think that if you're a Starbucks junkie and you're going 5 days a week, we could shave that down and start out maybe 3 days a week and take the monies from those other 2 days and put them in our coffer for paying down our debt.
Who you been talking to? I'm a Starbucks junkie. That was for me, wasn't it? All right, now the next point that you bring up is perils of procrastination, and I guess that means,
the longer you wait,
don't put it off.
Don't put off till tomorrow what you can do and should do today.
All right, that's interesting. Materialism is misery. A lot of people would not want to hear this, but you say that because?
Because the peril of procrastination kind of feeds into our possession obsession with material things. And then when you're in debt and don't see a way out of debt, that leads to the misery and the health issues we talked before about the physical versus the fiscal impact.
Pamela, thank you. I think the Starbucks thing is leaving a little pain in the chest. I did, and I will say this very quickly.
It could have been a value meal. It could have been drive-thrus. It could have been.
I will say getting gift cards helps to stop the bleeding on that.
Because when it's gone, it's gone.
That's right. All right. Thanks so much. We appreciate you being here. We'll see you in a couple weeks again, and we'll be back with the final check on your forecast.
Thank you, Rod.
That one hurt.
Hi there, welcome to Home Keepers. Won't you come right on in? It's so good to be here with you today. I was in my office earlier this morning and just pouring through emails, and a lot of you order recipes, but you also take the time to say something nice about the program, and that's a great way for me to start my day, just all this good inspiration. So we really do appreciate our viewers out there. If you're a brand new one, don't be new very long. We want you to be a part of us as we do our best to increase the value, the credibility, the stability of our homes. And it's a big job in America today. I'm sure you realize that. God sends us guests regularly, and most of them with messages to really encourage and strengthen the home. And that is true today with my guest, Pamela McCoy, the author of Bonafide Bits, and she is the CEO of Bonafide Consultants, and this is a financial institution, and the girl has a degree in business, and the thing that is so impressive about her is she teaches young people about money and especially credit. And wouldn't it be great if we can catch these kids, you know, when they're in 7th or 8th grade and teach them how to really manage their money? Everything would be better for it. So you're going to love Pamela. I already do, just met her a few minutes ago. Wonderful, wonderful personality, serving the Lord with all of her heart. And Tiffany and Stephanie are going to show you how to make this, I think it's the Moss initial. That's all I can say. Just watch it and you'll see how to do it. It's always fun when those girls get in the kitchen. Before that happens, though, we've been getting a lot of orders for this book on Revelation by Jody Matthews. It's a study of the book of Revelation, and you can see it's big. It's got a lot of color. I'll tell you what piqued my interest on it this morning, because I read Old Testament, New Testament every morning before I come to work and pray, and it's a great way to start the day. And I happen to be right now in the books of Jeremiah and Revelation, and I need this book. I think I'll take one home with me. And I'm a Bible school student. I have preached for more than 20 years on the road full time. And yet I never really dug into the book of Revelation. I left that for the experts. And I think most of us need a little bit of help when we're going through the book of Revelation. And I'm telling you, I think all these things are not too far off, all of the things that you read in the book of Revelation. So we're offering you this book, Revelation Simply Put, by Jody Matthews, and it's $20. It includes shipping and handling. You can write to us at Homekeepers, Box 6922, Clearwater, Florida 33758, or if you use a credit card, 1-800-229-0059. So many of you have ordered this book, but it really stood out to me this morning as I was reading the book of Revelation for myself. All right, let's go and see what Stephanie and Tiffany are doing in the kitchen, and after that you will meet my new guest, new friend, Pamela McCoy. Stay with us.
It is DIY day here at Homekeepers with my favorite guest, Tiffany from Nook and Cranny. She has a DIY workshop here in Pinellas County that I'm telling you, you want to go and experience it. It's so much fun, it's so uplifting, and it just makes me smile. That's all. So we bring her in to give you guys ideas. Those that aren't in the area, this is shown everywhere. So those that aren't in the area, we love to give you ideas. You can go out and just purchase this stuff. You see stuff on the internet and you're like, I want to try to do that. Well, she gives us the simple steps to do most of it. So what are we doing today?
Today we're going to do moss letters, and these are super popular in home decor. You can hang them.
If you go on Pinterest right now, I'm telling you, you'll see this everywhere.
Yes, and hang on your front door, put on a mantle, on a shelf. The best part is all of these supplies are straight from any craft store that you go to, so you can get them. It's super cheap, and it's really actually easy. And this is actually a project we don't offer in our workshops, but I thought it would be fun for the viewers to see because it's really easy and something you can do. And aside from the adhesive spray, it's a good kid project. So make sure if your kids are doing it that you kind of monitor the spray.
They will be stuck together.
That will happen, yes. Plus the fumes and all that. Yes. So yeah, you just want to make sure you're
well
safe.
ventilated.
Yes. Maybe outside. I actually did this outside in my driveway.
Oh, really?
So yeah, I put some cardboard down.
But let's take 1 second and talk about this frame.
This frame is actually, the frame and the chicken wire will be a project that we offer, and then the inside will come with a boxwood wreath. But I switched out to put the letter in to kind of display for today. But the frame is our new salt wash technique that we absolutely love, and we try to achieve a look that is old and chippy and vintage, and I think the salt wash really does that.
If you don't know what salt wash is, Google it.
Google it,
because if you're not in the area, you can purchase the stuff that you need to make this look,
it online.
And it's so easy.
It is. It's a few steps, and it gives you. We're hoping to achieve the look of an old window, basically, with that, and it gives you that layered look. So it's a really neat technique. It's super easy, and you can also buy that online too, or we sell it at the store.
Right. I mean, you want to decorate your home, and you want to do it on the cheap, like I do.
Yes.
You find furniture on the side of the road, it's free, okay? And then you buy this stuff and you make it look beautiful for your home.
And it's so fulfilling too when you've done it yourself.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's my home, it's my stuff.
And it's your style, right, exactly. So today we're going to do the Moss letters, and this is just a simple letter, an S. Wonder what that's for. An S that you can purchase at any craft store. And the fun thing is now they're carrying kind of a more traditional letter like this, but they also have scrolls and fancy fonts that you can get. So whatever your style is, and like I said, they have different sizes, so you can put on your front door. And then you want to get some moss. Now I prefer the sheet moss, but you can get moss that's already taken apart. I don't recommend using moss out of your yard.
Now listen,
there are bugs in it.
There are bugs in the moss outside. Okay?
Yes.
I think if you put it in the oven or something like that and kill them all, but why?
I don't know.
Don't do it.
This is so pretty and green that I would just recommend going to. And the good thing about all the craft stores is they now have coupons and you can get this stuff for dirt cheap. So just use that. So basically what you're going to need is some moss and some adhesive spray. This is super, super strong, high performance because we want the moss to really stick. And you can use any brand that you want. You can get that at the craft store also. So what we're going to do first is I like to go kind of section by section, and we're just going to spray it on a little section of the S. And then we're going to take our moss out. And I like to do the green side up because that's prettier.
Oh, yeah.
You just take a piece.
You could get a buzz off of it.
Yes, so you make sure you're outside doing it.
Yeah.
But basically, because it's super strong, just take a little piece and you sit it on there, and it's going to stick to it in a matter of just a few minutes.
It's that easy?
It's that easy. So you literally go section to section. Don't inhale when you're spraying.
Yeah.
On the pattern of the letter. So if you want to start helping me peel it apart, see, it's like I pulled up grass out of the yard.
Wow.
It's like a little piece of sod.
Fun. This would be I mean, with supervision, this would be so much fun for children.
It would, and the fairies are a huge trend with birthdays with kids, and also bedrooms. And I think this would be a fun little accent to like a fairy party or
On a side note, Nook and Cranny now has tween, teenage.
Well, starting at 5 years old, we do kids' birthday parties now.
Kids' birthday parties.
We've got a lot of fun projects. I kind of decided that not all kids are into wooden power tools like I am.
Sure.
So we've got some projects that actually don't involve wood. And they're more crafty, even though I don't like to say crafty, you know that.
Yeah.
But the kids' projects are a little more crafty.
Yeah. So instead of those little plastic bags that you guys bought, that some people buy, and they fill it with candy and plastic
that parents throw away as soon as they get home.
You could have a workshop. Now, are you selling the make and take?
We're doing both.
Okay,
we're doing a kit that they can take home, or actually have the party at Nook and Cranny.
And then no mess.
And then no mess. Yep, we clean it up. You can bring food, you can bring decorations, have it at Nook and Cranny.
Bring the cake, bring everything, and then you guys will do the project with the kids.
We instruct the project,
oh
teach them how to do it, and they leave
Where were you when Alexis was growing up?
And they leave with something. The best part is they leave with something that they made, and just like us, they're so proud when they take it home, and then they're displaying it. Every day they see that, and they know that they made it.
And then you get them into the DIY mode early.
Gets their mind moving, gets their creativity to come out.
And how much fun to have a table full of young people, making stuff.
They're so excited. Yeah. The ones that we've had, the workshops that we've had where they actually use power tools, they're so excited because Daddy doesn't let them use tools. And we do, so they're super excited.
That's fun. That's lots of fun.
Basically, we've just covered this entire letter. Now, you would want to let it sit flat for a few minutes so that it's nice and dry and stuck on there, but I think we'll be able to hold it up.
Yeah.
And then what I like to do is actually, as it dry or after it's dried, kind of take my finger here and just push around the letter so that you really get a distinct
Or you could do a little trimming.
You could do a trimming with scissors. Yep, exactly. Like that. And now for hanging it, you could take burlap, just like I did, and just rope it around the top and hang it.
Gosh, and you wouldn't even need this.
Yes.
If you didn't want to do that, you could just have this hanging on your front door.
Front door. It can prop up on a mantle or a shelf like this. You could spell. I've seen on Pinterest some people that'll spell out a word like inspire or something like that.
I love it.
So many possibilities, but it's so easy. All the stores sell these, but you can make it for half the price.
I love it.
With all the material.
I love it. I just love when Tiffany comes. She just gets my creative juices flowing. Now I'm ready to not go sit at my desk, but go make something. Her information is going to be on the screen. Please check her out. Sign up for her VIP emails or text, whatever, if you're in the area. If not, just go on her Facebook and see all the ideas. We love having you. Thanks for coming. We'll check you next time.
those girls have way too much fun. But I have a fun guest today. I just met her, and she talks about financial freedom and training our young people how to handle money, because maybe mom and dad didn't handle it that way, you know, that well, because credit is something probably that's the mindset of credit is probably passed down and inherited. But she talks about educate, involve, enlighten, and enrich. And she's wearing that today. Welcome, Pamela. I love your outfit.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here. So glad to be here.
And I love your outfit. It's got your message on it. And
absolutely. I try to mark it wherever I go.
Let's see your earrings. Let's pull your hair back.
Yep, it's my company earrings. It's Bonafide, which is the name of my company. And Bonafide, though it's spelled differently, it is the definition of Bonafide, about being genuine and honest. And that's what we do at Bonafide Credit Consultants.
And you're a walking advertisement. If you wear that out, I'm sure that people stop and say, okay,
absolutely.
What does this mean?
Absolutely. It's definitely a conversation starter. So absolutely love it. Actually, a guy over in St. Pete did the jacket for me.
Oh, he did?
Yes.
Well,
his
he did.
Company is One of One Customs, and so he will create anything for you.
He did a beautiful job on that.
Absolutely.
She's also written this small book, but it's jam-packed full of a lot of wisdom, Bonafide bits. And I was trying to think of the right word. The only thing I could come up with was pithy, that you have these little pithy sayings in here about money that stick.
And it's an easy read. It's only 69 pages, but it's broken down into 5 categories, and each category has 3 segments. And so it will give you an inspiration, and that inspiration can be a quote, something that I've read somewhere, something someone said, or it might even be a scripture. And then it will give you a life application, and then a financial application. So
yeah, and it's very educating, but entertaining, and I would say non-threatening.
Non-threatening, absolutely. That's why I say it's an easy read, and it's written for any audience. So young or old, male or female, teenager, more seasoned, it really doesn't matter. There's something in this book for everyone.
Well, tell me about Pamela. Were you raised in a Christian home?
I was definitely raised in a Christian home. That was one of the greatest gifts from my parents to me, was my introduction to the Lord.
Listen to that, parents.
He is the staple. Everything I do in my life is surrounding him.
Now, what got you so interested that you went to college and got a business degree and more to make that kind of your life's work?
You know, initially I was actually into fashion and all of that, and I kind of
That's obvious.
Well, you know, but I was missing the people part, you know, and know thyself is the first rule of engagement.
Didn't Shakespeare say that?
I need to engage with people. And so when I graduated from college, I got accepted into the Sears Management Training Program on the credit side. And I really wasn't thinking in depth about credit at that time, but I thought, oh, wow, this will be an awesome experience to learn something new. And so I finished the program, and that was my niche. And through that, I learned everything credit, from how the janitor ordered the toilet paper for the facility right up to the CEO. And after leaving Sears, I worked for Service Merchandise and Credit, and at that time I was more on the policy side, so writing the policies and procedures related to credit. And then left there, and I was 15 years at a credit card bank. And my last job at the bank was Vice President of Collections, Recovery, and Fraud. So I know all things credit. And people, oh gosh, you really enjoy collections? I do. It gave me an opportunity to educate people, to help them. People, when they're in collections, everybody's not there because they're a deadbeat and I got this with no intention to pay. Life happens to people. And so it was an opportunity to educate them and give them some tools that they could use, not only to turn their current situation around, but things that would be foundational in their finances for their family. And in doing that, people would, oh, can you help me with my credit? Because they know that's kind of what I did for work, and I knew how to read credit reports and all of that. And so people at church and family were asking for assistance. And then, oh, you really should do that for a living. So many people need this, you know, this education, this knowledge to help them. And I kind of like, yeah, okay, I'll do it. But then there was a season, late 2007, early 2008, and it was like everywhere I turned. We went and visited a church. the sermon had something to do with, you know, and then walking in your purpose and all of this, and it just kept coming, and every people I would meet for the first time, oh, you need to do this, you know. And I thought, okay, Lord, I hear you, because it was coming from all sides, so you can't avoid this. And then so I acquiesced.
Well, it's needed.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's so many people with no victory in their life, and I mean what I say, because I've met them, just because of credit and bills that just controls their thinking 24 hours. I mean, they don't even sleep well.
Exactly.
And you deal mostly with the credit. You probably could, but you're not a financial planner or any of that. And just the short conversations I've had with you, I never realized there was so much to talk about with credit.
Absolutely. A typical workshop that I do or seminar is 4.5 hours easy, you know, and it's all things credit and finance. There's so many things that go into that. So it's not like a la carte where, well, let's just talk about credit cards, or let's just talk about the credit report. You can't, because all these things work together, building your financial foundation. So
how do you approach, I'm simple, no dough, no go, which is, I think, a lot of problems in Americans' lives and families today, and it does rob them. It robs them of a good life.
Absolutely. And the sooner you can learn it, the better off you are. So I tell people, it doesn't matter what age you truly get it, meaning learning and understanding money management. If you get it later in life, all that means is your time horizon to benefit is shorter. But what we teach and preach at Bonafide Credit Consultants is that generational transfer is important as well. And so if you don't get it until you're 45 or 50, that's okay. If you really get it, then that means you can transfer that knowledge to your children, to your grandchildren. And so generationally, they'll get it at 15, at 20, which means their whole adult life they'll have good money management skills.
Yeah, we want to put your website up and, you know, make note of it. You say if you want to get out of debt, create a spending plan and commit to needed sacrifices. I commend you for putting that up front. It's not sugar-coated.
Absolutely.
Grow up and put on your adult clothes and you realize you're going to have to sacrifice.
You have to sacrifice, just like in the Word. I mean, you know, it requires that you can't be the same person you were yesterday if you're saying, I want to live the life that He has for me. You know, that means some changes are going to have to occur, which means you're going to have to give up sacrifice some things to be this new you. And the same is true for your finances. You can't keep making the same financial decisions hoping that you're going to get a different result. So
I'd like to sit through your seminar. Also, you quote, "Dear past, thank you for all my lessons. Dear future, I'm ready." Boy, that's concise.
That's it. You got to let go of the old. I mean, you know, again, I keep going back to Scripture, and that's just because He is such an important part of my life. But scripturally, when you're talking, you cannot receive a blessing when your hand is closed. You know, so you're holding on to something that you feel like you can't let go. Well, He can't bless you with something new as long as you're holding on to that old thing. And so that's part of even the motto of Bonafide is that, and you'll notice in the book, the categories, there's 5 categories, which are my 5 E's for Bonafide, but it starts out in the book with a closed fist and it says financial captivity. And that's what it is. So when you educate, you empower, you evolve, you enlighten, and you enrich. Financial freedom is right there in the palm of your hand, but you got to let go of the old stuff to receive the new things that He has for you.
And you know, I believe this is part of the abundant life.
Absolutely.
It's nice to have money in the bank, that's great, but I'll tell you, part of the abundant life is to have no debt.
Because that frees your mind.
Yeah,
because
it frees you.
You were talking about that earlier, how it just burdens you down. Every aspect of your life, you're focused and thinking about the money and getting out of debt and what am I going to do? Are they going to repossess my car? Am I going to get evicted? All of those things, because it's about the money. And so imagine if all of those things were worry-free. What kind of life? What would you be thinking about and focusing on? You know, joy and happiness and spending time with your family and the things that are important.
Yeah, I made a commitment a long time to go to be debt-free, and one of the greatest blessings is whether you're kind of rich or poor, if you have no debt and you see someone in need, you can hand them the 5, you can hand them the 10, you can write out the check. I think that is the most exhilarating. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. I just typed up some of her pithy stuff. I liked it so much. She says, do you think about money long term or short term? And then she quotes John Sinclair, failure is a bruise, not a tattoo.
Absolutely.
And as I thought about that, I thought all of us can look back and grieve and have all kinds of angst over some of the financial decisions we made in the past. So don't go there.
Yes. It's not permanent. And that's the motto of that quote is, you know, it's only temporary. If you make the changes, you can do something different. The outcome can be very different. It's not permanent. And I think just knowing that inspires people to, you know, again, you use that word commitment, and that's what it's going to require, that commitment and sacrifice to make the changes needed to change your financial future.
And you know, I've noticed people, they've had enormous credit card debt and so forth. But as they begin and they commit, I'm not talking about anything spiritual at the moment. As they commit, it seems like some extra money comes their way to keep knocking that down. And that just must be a universal law.
It is. You know, when you're doing good things
Have you
and moving on the right
noticed that
path.
at all?
Absolutely, absolutely. And though you said it's not spiritual, but it is in a way. I mean,
it's a law of reciprocity.
Absolutely. When you're doing the right things, he's going to bless the bless.
You're right. He blesses the right
blessing.
thing. He blesses the right
And when
thing.
you're doing what he would have you to do, he's overjoyed by that. And so he's going to give you, he wants us to do well. He wants you, you know, and maybe, you know, your circumstance, that's his doing as well. And so he wants us to do well. And if you were in a bad financial situation and then you come out, people are looking and observing. And so that's an opportunity to introduce him, because how did you do that? You know, what were you doing? You know, so now you have an opportunity to tell them what you did to get in the situation. But more importantly, you get to show them how I came out on the other side. And that's what he wants, is that opportunity to introduce him to somebody who may not have, in any other circumstance, had the opportunity to meet him.
I have an expert credit consultant with me today. Her name is Pamela McCoy, if you just tuned in. And I got a copy of this Bonafide Bits, and I knew she would be a great guest on the program. Pamela, I think I've had financial people on here, and we've promoted Dave Ramsey's books and so forth, but I don't think I've ever had anybody just talk about credit. And when you described the course you took, it took several months, right? I thought, you know, this is not for the faint of heart. What you learned, I just thought you get a credit card and you pay so much, or you pay it all or something, and that was it. That's my experience with it, but there's a lot more to it.
Oh, absolutely. For me, I say I'm your MSI, and people are, oh, what, CSI, FBI, I heard those acronyms.
Yeah.
MSI, Mind Shift Initiator, because everything, all of these things that I teach, it's all boils down to your mindset. You know, you have to have made up your mind, I'm willing to sacrifice, I'm willing to make that commitment. If your mindset hasn't shifted from the old mindset, then you won't be successful. You know, you've got to make up your mind. I'm ready. That's what the tattoo. I'm ready now. When you're saying goodbye to your past behavior and hello to the future, when you say I'm ready, that means, you know what? I'm committed.
You promote self-talk, and I believe in that. When you're trying to change something, and you're trying to make a real difference in your life and go a different direction, talk to yourself. And you say self-talk is an important part of the process on the path to financial freedom. What do you have in mind on self-talk?
Well, it's other people may not be along for the hard part of the journey. And so they might start out, you know, you've got a few encouragers, a few cheerleaders, oh, this is great, rah, rah, rah. But when you're at that fork in the road, should I use this money towards getting out of debt, or this latest whatever, the latest electronics, the newest car, the newest fashion, whatever your thing is, should I or shouldn't I? Well, no one's there but you, yourself, and I to decide how should I spend that money. And so you've got to self-talk, you know, what's more important to me? You know, I can make that sacrifice today, and a year from now, 6 months, where am I going to be? You know, so
that
really is.
That is a great, great point. We're almost out of time, but I would like to say, I would like to have you come back and we can get more into the details. But when you talk to middle schoolers sometimes.
I do. During the summer, I usually designate summer for youth. So this past summer, I actually had a contract with the Boys and Girls Club. So I taught 6th, 7th, and 8th graders money management, basic at their level. Everything is customized, so it's at their level that they can understand. And I also partner with another nonprofit, Salita's House. This was my 3rd summer with them, and their age grouping is 13 to 17, and we do what's called FIT Camp. And the FIT stands for Financially Intelligent Teens. And so we're teaching them.
Are they real interested in this?
They love it, because what we try to do is not make it like school. It's during the summertime. We know you really don't want to be there. Some of them, they're under duress because their mom made them come. But we make it fun. So we do activities around the concepts so that they can learn it, again, at their own level. But these are foundational. So this is going to change their life forever.
Do most of them have an allowance or something, and they work around that?
It varies, because the kids that come are from various economic backgrounds.
Yeah.
And so depending on your economic background will dictate whether you have an allowance or a part-time job, because again, we have through 17, so some of them, the 16 and 17-year-olds, might have a little part-time job even. So we're teaching them how to manage whatever monies you have. You might only get money on your birthday and Christmas or whatever, but you need to do well with that money. You can't spend everything you have. Because even at that young age, because I have done smaller children at my church, and it's really about setting that mindset. So at an early age, if I understand I should not spend everything that I have, you know, even if you're 6 or 7 and you get that concept, that'll bode well for you.
Well, before you come back, I want you to think of some of the questions they ask you and write them down, and we'll go over those. But we are out of time for right now. And I know that this is a subject that just probably 99% of all the people in the world are interested in. And you know, for my own wish for you and prayer for you is that you would be debt-free. It's a lot better life when that happens, and that's why we bring people like Pamela on. Hey, join me next time, remembering there's no higher calling than that of a homekeeper. God bless you.
If you should miss a Homekeepers program, you can catch up by going to www.ctnonline.com. Click on CTN Programs and then on Homekeepers.
Hi there, welcome to Homekeepers. Grab yourself a cup of tea or something and just hang out with us for the next few minutes. My name's Arthurline Rippey, and I've been sitting in this chair, well, probably not the exact same chair, for almost 19 years of this Homekeepers program. That is a lot of programs, and it's a lot of guests, wonderful guests, quality guests, and a lot of recipes. And boy, when you sit and think of time in that kind of a frame, you can only thank God for His goodness and His faithfulness. And thank you for your faithfulness out there. You help to keep us on the air. In my heart, it's a very, very, very important program, because until the homes of America are changed and turned toward God, nothing's going to happen. We're going to keep on this downward slide. So thank you for anything you've done to keep us on the air. And we, of course, approach so many subjects, and there's one subject that's mentioned an awful lot in the Old Testament and New Testament. Jesus talked about it a lot. You know something about it. You probably know a lot about your own finances. Yes, let's be honest, money is kind of important, just a commodity to get us through life. The Bible tells us how to handle it, what to do with it. And we live in an age now, you know, when I was a whole lot younger, certainly when I went to college, nobody sent me a credit card. I wouldn't have known what it was or what to do with it. But now these companies send credit cards to college students, and kids that age, they've kind of only known the credit card way, something that had to be introduced to my generation. So the Lord has been good to us, and He sent us Pamala McCoy, and she's a financial consultant. And she's been on the program before, and I'm sure a lot of you people remember her. She's very vivacious, and feels a passion about what she's doing, financial consulting. And so we're going to give you just a little bit, because a lot of times people get in huge, huge credit card debt, and they're looking for someone just like Pamela. And she can show kind of the way to get out of it. So I'm glad that she's back. We're going to talk about credit cards a lot, kind of get in the weeds on that. And then Stephanie and Tiffany are going to join us, and they're going to make a copycat mirror. Now, you want to know what that is? Well, the mirror they're going to make, actually, in some stores, over $200. And that's the beauty of learning crafts and things, that you can beautify your home for a whole lot less, and it's a whole lot of fun to do them. And before we join them, though, I again want to offer you this beautiful, beautiful turquoise cross bracelet. We've sent out hundreds of these and thought that we couldn't get them anymore, and I found a source where we could. So we're making them available to you again for that gift of at least $20. I don't know about you, but I like the image of the cross as often as I can see it. So for that gift of at least $20, we'll send it to you. You can use your credit card, 1-800-229-0059, or write to me if you want to send a check and a gift. You can, if the Lord impresses on your heart to give a gift to this ministry, hope you'll follow through on that, and you can mail that check to Home Keepers, Box 6922, Clearwater, Florida, 33758. All right, now we're going to watch Stephanie and Tiffany, and those girls have way too much fun in the kitchen. But anyway, they're going to show us how to make a copycat mirror. Let's take a look.
It is always my favorite day of the month when Tiffany can come visit us from Nook and Cranny. She has a DIY workshop, do it yourself, yes, DIY workshop here in Pinellas Park. And let me tell you, if you've not been, you need to come. It's worth the travel. If you Pasco, Hillsborough, I don't even know other counties, Pinellas, anywhere. You want to come and you want to visit Nook and Cranny. It's amazing. It's so much fun. They teach you things. They show you how to do things. They empower you. And you leave with something that you are so thrilled to have to either give as a gift, Christmas, hello, or to hang in your home. So she's brought a new idea today. I think she got the idea off of Pinterest. You see all these ideas on Pinterest and you're like, oh no, too much money, I don't want to do that. But wait till you hear how much she spent on this and you're gonna love it. So what are we doing today?
We're making a mirror. I'm so excited. I've never done this before, but like you said, I was on Pinterest looking around. I saw a mirror. It was actually pinned from a big box home decor store.
And how much was it?
It was, I think, $230. Yes. So it wasn't exactly like this, but that gave me the inspiration to go out and get the supplies and make this. So this was less than $15.
Less than $15, and she saw one for $230. People, this is my kind of craft.
Yes, this is super fun and super easy.
Okay, so.
All of the supplies you can either get at a hardware store or a craft store. So it's very easy to do at home. You're gonna start first with one of these wood rounds. This is the smallest size. It's a 17.5 inch. They come a little bit bigger. And this is cut just like this. You can buy it right off the shelf, and it was $5.50.
$5, and she got it at Home Depot.
Home Depot,
I want to be able to share where.
Yes,
Home Depot for that. $5. Are you kidding me?
And you can actually
do a million things with this thing right here.
That's what I was going to say. These are really great. You can do serving trays. I mean, you could literally make this into anything. Today we're going to do a mirror, but heck, maybe I could come back again and make something else with it.
Christmas centerpiece.
A lazy Susan.
So many. Oh,
yeah, so many things. So you're going to get your wood round, and you can really stain it or paint it. I prefer to stain everything. I don't know why, but
I love the stain.
So we're going to stain it today, but this is basically what we're going to make, is this beautiful
I love it.
mirror.
And it's got, you put twine around the
twine
edges.
around, and we're going to show you how to do that. Now you can either hang this on the wall with the rope that I've got attached to it, or you can just flush it to the wall by putting hardware on the back.
And then the mirror you got from?
The mirror we got from a craft store. You can order those on Amazon and have it shipped directly to your house if you don't want to. Be very careful. I ordered 3 and dropped 1.
Yep.
So they're very slippery when you open them. But also, if you can't find a round mirror, these are also called centerpiece mirrors. So you see them at weddings, and people use them for centerpieces.
Why
so
if
you're not finding
that?
what you're looking for when you're searching, you can try a centerpiece mirror.
You know what? They have square ones at Dollar Tree.
They have square ones, yep. Square, round, and they come all different sizes.
Okay,
this is a 14-inch, and this is a 17-inch round. So
this is why we have her come, because now my creative juices are flowing.
You're going to make
I'm thinking
kinds
of
things.
Those small mirrors and getting a small piece of wood and
Putting
Yes,
it on there.
okay, I'm
Yeah.
in.
Possibilities are endless.
I'm in.
So the first thing you're going to do is go ahead and either paint or stain your round wood, and we're going to use stain, and you're just going to go over the whole thing. One light coat is good. I like the grains of the wood to show through. So
yeah, because it's beautiful.
Exactly.
It's
You
that
don't really want to
natural
cover
grain.
those up.
Yeah.
So we went ahead and used, this is just a water-based stain, so it's safe to use at home. And you're going to want to do one coat on the top and then all around the side, and then let that dry.
Right, and this could just be to your decor.
That's exactly right. So you can do it black,
colors.
colors, and even when we get to the twine, there's so many possibilities with that too. So after that's completely dry, which this kind of stain literally only takes like 10 minutes to dry, you want to put your mirror on. Now the key to this is you want to have a really strong bonding agent, and this is what I prefer. And you're going to just flip the mirror over, and be generous with it, and you're just going to put it.
Yeah, because you don't want your mirror hanging up, and then you don't want it crash into the ground. Or if you give it as a gift, like here, crash.
Here. Oops, sorry about that. So yeah, all over that.
Okay.
Now with this adhesive, you actually want it to set for 24 hours. So what I did when I was making my sample is I put it on the wood, and then I actually sat something heavy on top of it.
Smart.
And then came back to the project in about 24 hours.
Okay, so I'm just going to eyeball it.
If you want to measure, you certainly can, but
not a measure.
Since they're both round, it's pretty easy to figure out where the middle is.
There. Okay.
That's it. Easy enough. Now,
peasy.
because there's a raw edge there, I wanted to cover that up. And who doesn't love twine?
Right.
So I picked twine. Now you can pick ribbon. You could really pick
anything that matches your house.
Exactly.
This is like nautical to me.
It is very nautical, rustic, farmhouse. All of that's in right now. So basically, what you just do is you take your hot glue gun and you
which everyone should have because they come in so handy.
And you literally just do a couple inch section. Put your twine down.
Watch your fingers.
Watch your fingers, because if you you'll burn your fingerprints off.
Million times. So you go all the way around.
All the way around it. Yep. And then if you want to stop there, you can. Now I went ahead and I found these cool knobs at Hobby Lobby, and then I drilled little holes in the side, and with hanger bolts, I attached this on the side so that I could hang it from the twine. But if you wanted to do it flush on the wall, you could totally do that too.
And you could just put a hanger on the back.
Put a hanger on the back, hardware.
Yep. Love it. How simple is that?
So easy.
I love
so
it
we just saved $100 or $215.
$215, people. And what a gift.
Yes.
Who wouldn't want to receive this?
And even like this too, it could even be a centerpiece. It doesn't have to hang on the wall.
Oh yeah, you could put glass vases on here, or there's a million ideas. I love it. Tiffany, I love when you come. You know that. I get so excited and I start shaking. My mind starts rolling. It's so fabulous. Her information is coming up on the screen. Please, please, please come visit Nook and Cranny. There may be copycats out there, but they are not Nook and Cranny. Just remember that, okay? We'll see you soon.
I love it when Tiffany comes too. There's so much fellowship when you do crafts together. I remember as a little kid going to VBS, I like the crafts the best, and I hope it's not a, kind of a lost art in this nation. Great idea, save $215, and who could be happier about that than Pamela?
Absolutely, saving money is what my goal is.
That's what you do,
That's what I do.
Welcome back. She's also the author, it's what we talked about last time, of Bonafide Bits, and this is this most unusual book on money you'll ever read. Very, very creative, and welcome back.
Glad to be back.
I think a lot of people can relate to what we're talking about today.
Absolutely. Credit card, credit card, credit card.
Can you remember when there was no credit card? There were no credit cards when I was young.
No, there were credit cards, but of course, you weren't really exposed to them because at that time when they were, I guess, becoming more prevalent, I was so young, but my parents did have credit cards, but my dad's philosophy was not credit cards, so.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That serves you well today,
Absolutely.
I'm sure.
Absolutely.
The first ones I remember were gasoline cards, and they came from the, whether it was Mobil or Shell or whatever.
Right, proprietary cards.
That was a way that they could get all your gas business, really.
And you wouldn't have to carry cash, so, I mean, it's a convenience thing.
And it's just gotten way, way out of line. But do you get the feeling that Americans are kind of waking up to this can really be a bad thing?
I think to a certain degree in the recession and the things that happened with the housing market and all of that, I think brought credit in general to the spotlight. And some people learn lessons well, some not so much. And so there's still plenty of room for all of us, opportunities to improve on our credit.
Well, I'm not sure that I made any real inroads into my grandson, but I told him, they have a bank account now, but they're both young men. I said, you need to go over every single thing because, for instance, if what you call, we used to say bounce a check, the penalty's like $35 or something like that.
Absolutely, and it can even be higher at some banks.
And it's a good idea to keep a certain balance in there, and then they don't get you for anything.
Absolutely, and again, it depends on which product you select at the bank, what the fee structure is, and we'll talk a little bit about fees later on, but the fee structure, and that might dictate what the minimum balance has to be in that specific account to avoid paying the fees.
Now, you are a consultant. That's different than a planner.
Correct.
A planner can sit there and tell you buy this stock or this bond or
right. They're typically financial advisors, and so they're planning for your future, for your retirement years, and so.
Now you probably both branches know a lot about the same.
Absolutely,
things.
absolutely, and I do know a lot about the investments in stocks and bonds and mutual funds, but I don't give credit advice because I'm not licensed, and so it's very important that your viewers clearly understand that they need to work with a financial advisor who is actually licensed. That gives them some protection.
There are other things they should find out about financial advisor too, because a financial advisor can push a product because they're getting a good kickback on it.
Right.
And so what kind of questions do you ask about that?
Well, I tell my clients, one, they should go to FINRA, FINRA.com, which is the site, and any licensed financial advisor who their credentials are current should come up in FINRA. If they were had license and they have expired or lost their license for any reason, that too will show up in FINRA. So that's the first rule of thumb, is to check out on FINRA. But I tell my clients when selecting a financial advisor, it's a lot like choosing a physician. So they may all have the credentials in terms of their series licensure, but you've got to find one that gives you that warm fuzzy, that intangible. So you're interviewing them as much as they're interviewing you. And why is that important? Because you're going to entrust them with your financial future. And so you need to really be comfortable with that individual and the fact that they have your best interests at heart. Because, Arthurline, you're absolutely correct when you say some financial advisors, their concern or focus is their commission, meaning I need to put you in the product that's going to make me the highest commission. That's not the financial advisor that you want. You want a financial advisor who's going to delve into your personal life, your goals, what you want to accomplish, what your risk tolerance is, what your time horizon is, and take all of those things into consideration in determining what products are best for you. And those products may not be the one that yields them the highest commission.
So it's okay to ask them, what's your kickback? Or
absolutely, absolutely. Like I said, it's like choosing your physician. You're interviewing them. You're going to entrust them with your finances. So there's no such thing as a dumb question. There's no such thing as asking the same question different ways just to make sure that you have a clear understanding. And even after you hire a financial advisor, it is your prerogative to fire that financial advisor for whatever reason. No reason necessary. If you don't feel like they have your best interest at heart or are not taking you in the direction that you want to go, that's your prerogative and you should exercise it.
I had a situation like that years ago because I had to handle my mother's finances for several years before she passed. And so I dug up something that I think I'd been instrumental in taking her to this person and getting that account back, and it had hardly done anything in those years. It was just forgotten. So one good rule would be don't be intimidated. It's your money.
Absolutely. And like anything else, your insurance is all of those things. You should take a look at it at least annually to see, you hire a financial advisor so that you're not looking at your accounts every day, because that could be stressful. So that's what you're hired and are paying them to do. So let them do their job. But as a consumer, you need to review it at least once a year. And if they're a good financial advisor, they're going to schedule that appointment with you at least once a year, maybe even more frequently.
Yeah, a good one would do that, right? I know. I use Attorney Joe Pippin, most of the people here know. And he's pretty good about, okay, let's go over your will and your trust, because things can change. Okay, so that's the financial advisor. correct me if I'm wrong, but when they come to you, the consultant, they might be in a huge mess and they're saying, Pamela, help me.
Help me.
Okay.
And it may be that their goal, ultimate goal, is to need a financial advisor,
Yeah.
i.e. I have some money that I need to invest
Yeah.
and grow towards my future. But my finances right now, with my debt load, some maybe bad or questionable financial decisions,
Yeah.
I'm kind of in a bind right now, so they need me, a financial consultant, to help them get their credit life stabilized, if you will, to have monies to give to the financial advisor.
Can I ask you this? You don't have to answer it, but thinking back, can you give me a dollar amount for the worst situation that's come into your...
Oh, wow. I have had a client, probably the risk score, probably the worst, was under 400. And, you know, the score range is like 350 to 800. And so, you know, they're
now,
thinking,
is that
I'm
400,000 or...
No, in terms of their risk score, meaning their credit, meaning that they
is
had
there
a
a
heavy
risk
debt
score?
load. Absolutely.
Never heard of that.
Absolutely. Your credit, in your credit bureau, so it's also referred to as a FICO score or credit bureau
Okay.
score. But that's kind of
Okay,
like
yeah,
your
I know what you
report
mean.
card, your grade, if you will. And so the lower your score, that means you're very risky, which means you've made some questionable financial decisions that have gotten you in a bind. And so in all likelihood, you don't have additional cash flow to be investing in your future because you need to take care of the here and now. So.
Now, if I checked mine, I'm sure it would be good. However, I don't ever borrow money, so they don't know what to do with me, right?
Well, everyone should check their score.
Yeah.
Every year.
Okay.
Each of the 3 major credit reporting bureaus, Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, you get a free report from each one of those. You don't get your score with the free bureau. So the first bureau that you're pulling, excuse me, if you don't know what your score is, I recommend that you pay it's a nominal fee, I think it's like $7.95 or something, to get your score. Just so you know your benchmark and where you're starting. But activity, you could use a credit card, pay it in full, all of those things
yeah, I
are
do that. I
creating
pay
the
it in full.
activity in your bureau.
So that would qualify.
Absolutely.
Okay, now we want to get into the weeds a little bit on what maybe people don't really notice, and that's, say you have a $1,000 credit card bill. If you pay on it, what, $20, $30, $40 a month, whatever, it's going to determine how much you have paid to use that $1,000. So we have a graphic. We're going to put it on the screen. It's not really as big as maybe some of you can't see it, but we can go over it. What's APR?
The annual percentage rate.
Okay.
So that's what you're paying to borrow that money.
So if they pay 10%, that monthly payment would be $40 a month?
Well, in this example, they're just using $40 a month across the board for each of the APRs, because what they're wanting to show mainly in this graphic is the difference in the interest rate. So of course, the higher the interest rate, the more money that you're paying to borrow the same $1,000. And your risk score plays a role in that, because when an underwriter is looking at whether it's a credit card, an auto loan, a home loan, or what have you, they're looking at your credit score, and that's going to dictate your interest rate, your APR.
Okay, let's take a look at some of these. $40 a month across the board. Some of them you are taking 36 months, correct?
Correct. So in the same $1,000, if you were at a 10% APR and paying the $40, it's going to take you 29 months approximately to pay that off. If the exact same debt was at 25%, it's going to take you 36 months to pay it off. And the difference in the interest, of course, is going to be from $1,100 to about $1,400 variance in that. The exact same loan.
That's a lot of money. So for me personally, and this isn't to compare with anybody else, because I know that one good medical thing can wipe you out.
Right.
That's going to use all your credit cards up. So bring that aside, but it's my personal practice to pay them off every month.
Absolutely.
I get sick to my stomach when I think of paying interest.
And that's the goal. And if you're able to do that, then that means that you're using the credit cards are not using you. And as my father, Lindsay Lofton, his famous quote that he always says is, credit cards should be used to buy time and not money. And
That's
what
good.
that means is you're buying that grace period, not I'm putting this on a credit card because I don't have the money. And so in this scenario, I charge it that I have buying something for $1,000. I'm putting it on a credit card because I have that $1,000 somewhere invested And so it's making money for me. That's the only reason why I'm not paying cash for this item today. So that 28-day grace period, that money's over there working for me. And so I'm going to pull that money out to pay this $1,000 off before it's due, so I'm not paying any interest. So that 10%, 15%, 25% is irrelevant because I'm not paying any of that. I'm still going to pay the $1,000 because I'm paying it within the grace period. But I allowed that $1,000 to work for me. And ideally, it's sitting somewhere drawing greater than this interest rate.
I hadn't thought of that balance.
Yes.
How do they get away charging 25%? That seems like mafia.
Usury is the technical term. It's supply and demand. And again, that's why your credit score is so very important, because the higher your score, the lower your risk, the cheaper it is to borrow money.
Is
whether
that
that's
what they
credit
base it
card, a
on?
home, or auto.
So if you've got a significant amount of debt, and you've got maybe a new credit card,
Right.
they look to see what that is and say, oh, well, you're kind of a risk. We're going to put you at 25.
Exactly, because they're trying to mitigate their losses that may occur. Same thing with your credit score. What it's basically saying is this individual has a low credit score. They borrowed money in the past and didn't do a good job at paying it back for whatever reason, because your bureau doesn't tell an explanation as to why. So it could be just that they're deadbeat, or it could be that life happened to them.
Right.
Like you're talking about, it could be medical bills or what have you. But the bureau is just going to say this person didn't do a good job at paying back previous money that they borrowed. And so now they're asking me for money. So should I or shouldn't I give them the money? Maybe I feel like, okay, based on a whole lot of things, I'll give them the money, but the likelihood of them paying me back is less than someone who had an 800 score, because that means they pay
So
everybody
we'll stick
back.
it to 'em.
So if they don't pay me back, it's going to cost them more, right? And over time, I'm making more money. If they're paying it over time, I'm making more money on them than the person who had the 800 score, because their
Not
APR
as
might
much
be
risk.
10%, might be 5%. So even if they're paying over time, they're paying me less money. So as a creditor, I'm making less money because you're paying less money. But your history says that you're good for it, versus the other person who, I'm not really sure, so I got to mitigate that potential loss.
You know, I think there's so many people out there that never read a bank statement. They don't read their credit card statement and have no clue that they're paying 25% interest on something. Now, we're getting close to running out of time. Do you have couples come to you? Because
I do.
This can blow up a marriage, can't it?
Yes. What did it say? Religion, finance are the biggest divorce breakers, and it's still true today. If I'm working with a couple who is married, I refuse to work with them as individuals. I have to work with them as a couple. And that's just my philosophy on my belief system that says if you're in this together, biblically, that means you are one. And so if I'm working with one party, whatever plan I put into place could quickly become counterproductive, because if you're a spender and the other one's a borrower.
Yeah, what do you do about that?
You know, and so one's trying to save, one's consistently spending. Well, that's a place that you're going to knock heads. And so whatever plan I put in place is going to be ineffective, because if your mindset is, I don't need to spend everything that I make, so I'm going to take X percent of my income and I'm going to save it. But as soon as you put it in the savings account, your spouse then is taking it out to go spend it. Now that's causing conflict. And so I need them to be on the same page, whatever that is. We all need to be on the same page with regards to.
Do you ever feel like a marriage counselor?
Being a financial consultant is all of that. It's a mother, it's a father, it's a big sister, it's a marriage counselor.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a semi-mini pastor kind of thing. Because, you know, in the Bible, as you mentioned, there's over 2,000 verses in Scripture that talk about finance. So.
Because he knew it would be important to us, but not only that, he knew it would be important.
Exactly.
This thing that gets you through life on.
We can't do without it.
Many
so
levels.
we just need to understand it.
I think most people would immediately think, if there's a marriage situation, if the woman is shopper and the guy's trying to save money, but boy, a lot of situations I've known that's not true. It's the guy who goes out and buys toys and
the techie stuff. Yeah. So really, it's important. So ideally, in a marriage situation, they go through financial counseling prior to getting married. I know at our church, and even when I got married 22 years ago, it was a requirement to be married in the church.
And you had to take
financial counseling. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Good church, good pastor.
Because again, understanding the importance and that this is foundational. So if the couple can't get it together in the beginning and then you start throwing kids and life and all of that into the mix, it's just, you know, almost insurmountable.
We have Dr. Clark on here, Dr. David Clark, Christian psychologist, deals a lot with marriage and premarital. He says the premarital, I try to break them up, and and if they can withstand.
Absolutely.
Of course, money's part of that. Okay, we didn't get to that power of 15, a lot of things we were talking about, but we're out of time, so will you come back?
I absolutely would love to.
I think this is something we really want to encourage you, want you to have that abundant life, you know, and part of that is that financial highway through your life, and there's a way to do it, and there's a way that God will bless you with it. But we are out of time now, so join me next time. Please remember, there's no higher calling than that of a homekeeper. God bless you.
If you should miss a Homekeepers program, you can catch up by going to www.ctnonline.com. Click on CTN Programs and then on Homekeepers.
Looks very good. Love all those actors. Thanks so much, Sam. Jerry, over to you.
All right, Cindy. And who doesn't want to save some money right about now? Pamela McCoy from Bonafide Credit is back with some good ideas to save some greenbacks, particularly this summer. Now, you see, Pamela, that's a little counterintuitive to me because in the summer, you run the air conditioning a lot more. How can we possibly save money?
Well, when you're talking about the air conditioning at home, what you want to do during the day is, if you've got the dark curtains, it's the best, the blackout curtains, but you want to keep the curtains closed, the windows closed, the doors closed. The objective is to keep the house as cool as possible, but the temperature as high as possible during the day, particularly if there's no one home.
And you want to also make sure your windows are properly sealed and your doors, and check your insulation. I mean, these are all things, because air conditioning just dissipates otherwise.
Absolutely, and so you don't want to be running the air conditioner, cooling off the outdoors, so to speak.
Okay. With cooking, with laundry, what are some good tips?
Some good things with cooking and laundry is, you know, the old school, hanging out laundry outside. It's just the appropriate neighborhood, and, you know, homeowners associations.
Better too.
Exactly. You get the fresh air. Cooking outside on the grill. You know, one, it's fun. You get that smoky taste. Feels like summer. But also, if you're running the stove and the oven in the house, it's increasing the temperature in the house, which makes the air conditioner have to run a little longer to cool the house down.
Okay, now we've got hurricane season right upon us here.
Exactly.
So what do we have to worry about there in terms of saving some money?
Well, when you're thinking about your finances or what have you, always need to be prepared for emergencies. And unfortunately, we've had a lot of storms here recently. Oklahoma as recent as yesterday. But you want to keep all of your important documents handy. On a thumb drive is the best thing, and on that thumb drive should be marriage license, birth certificates, divorce paperwork, medication lists, all of these important documents, your things related to your vehicles, your insurances, all of those things. If it's on a thumb drive, it's very small. You can put it in a Ziploc bag, and it's readily available, and you can plug it in anywhere and get access to that.
So you really have to think finances in terms of your storm preparedness as well, don't you?
Exactly. You always have to be prepared.
Okay, are there some things that are a little bit cheaper in the summer months that we should be thinking about buying?
Yeah, a neat idea would be to swap with friends. And I saw something on a TV show probably a year or so ago where there were some neighbors actually swapped out their furniture. Gives your house a new look. It's not new furniture,
especially if they have better stuff than you.
Absolutely. And you can swap clothing, you know, consignment shops. I think I spoke of that before. But during the summer, also laptops and cars and mattresses are ideal purchases during the summer because they're trying to make room for the new items to come out the following year.
That's right. And with cars in particular, it's good to go the end of the summer months.
Exactly.
Right? June, July, August. September is a really good month,
right,
too.
Because they're trying to get the new models in, so there's going to be a lot of rebates available to you.
Okay, any other really good suggestions? You're always full of good suggestions in terms of saving money this summer.
Some neat ideas, you know, going to produce stands as opposed to the grocery store. One, the vegetables tend to be a little bit fresher sometimes, and they're cheaper. You might also want to, you know, in terms of your vacationing, planning there, let me think of some other good ideas.
There's a lot of things you can do in terms of, you know, when be a family, join together,
maybe craft together?
Crafting, couponing,
That's
clicking
right.
and clicking is another favorite of mine. You know, you never know what you're going to find. And particularly in Tampa, because we have nice weather or what have you, want to always be looking out for free things, concerts, festivals, activities, things at the library, all of those
Use
things.
your AAA card,
Use
too.
your AAA, if you're military, always
That's
ask
right.
for discounts no matter where you go. Because you never know. They don't necessarily advertise that they offer these discounts, but AAA, military, AARP,
Always
in that
ask.
category, but always ask.
Pamela McCoy, great ideas. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right, we'll be right back with more daytime right after this.
I'm here again when everyone starts to think about saving money and getting out of debt. But there's more to it than just creating a budget. Pamela McCoy from Bonafide Credit is here now with some easy ways to increase your savings and get fiscally fit in 2013. Good to have you here, Pamela.
Thank you for having me.
A lot of people think, well, okay, I'm just going to have a budget, stick to it, and I won't have any problems this year.
Yeah, but unfortunately, there's a little bit more to it than that. One of the first things that I would recommend everyone do at the beginning of the year is to pull your credit bureau. And that's really important because that's kind of like your foundation, your starting point. It's going to let you know where you are with regards to your debt-to-income ratio.
Now, if you want to get your credit score, you can get it for free.
The credit bureau is free, and you get one from each of the three major reporting bureaus, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. You get one free one per year.
Okay.
The credit score is not included, but it's a nominal charge, less than $10. And I recommend that the first one you get, you do pull the score, because again, that'll tell you where you're starting. But I don't recommend that you pull all three of them at one time. Pull one every 4 months or so, because they all should basically be the same, with a few nuances or what have you. But what you want to look for when you pull your credit report is the trade lines that are in there, make sure that they're accurately yours. Is the reporting accurate? And if there are any disputes or discrepancies, you need to get that clarified, because that could be adversely affecting your score.
Had that happen?
Yes.
Got my credit report, look at the score, and I thought, well, what is this?
Exactly.
And it was wrong.
And it happens a lot, too, if you have juniors and seniors, father and son, where the files actually get merged together. So errors are pretty common, and it's important to get them corrected.
Okay, do that first. Now, track your spending. How do you track your spending?
There's several different methods. You can do it via an Excel spreadsheet. You can just do it on a notepad. But what the importance is that you, for a week's period of time, ideally it would be a month, but people are going to track their spending for a month. And so if you take out a week, and everyone in the household really needs to be on the plan, or it's kind of counterproductive.
Right.
But you're tracking every penny that you spend during that week. And the importance there is it's going to help you determine where you can kind of shave off some things to save some money.
Could be very surprising if you take a look at the end of the week.
Exactly.
Okay, now, so sure, we all want to shop around, but there are certain things that we should really be shopping for. Let's talk about generic versus brand food.
Yes, and when she's talking about shopping around, I'm talking about, again, cost cutting.
Right.
Because our mission is to get out of debt. And so when you're talking about generic versus brand names, typically there's a huge difference in the price, whether it's medication, whether it's a loaf of bread or cereal. So always do the price comparison. So when you look at the labels, actually the ingredients are identical. So you're paying for the packaging.
Right.
So
Always do the 401k.
always do the 401k. Particularly, a lot of companies don't match, but if your company matches, it doesn't matter how low the percent, you need to at least do what they're doing. If their match is 6%, then you need to do a minimum of 6%, or otherwise you're leaving free money on the table.
Now, here's something that a lot of people don't think of, but you can save hundreds. You get in a hold of your insurance company, start shopping around, and you go to them and you say, this person will give it to me for this much, and that'll probably come right down.
Price comparison on everything, not just insurance. You can do price comparison on your cable bill, on your cell phone. Another thing, budget billing, most people don't know about, and that kind of helps you with your budget. Particularly utility companies will do that, and they'll take your billing for a year, average out what your monthly bill has been over the previous year, and you pay that amount every month. So that fits in your budget, you know exactly what you're going to be paying. And then at the end of the year, you balance out, and it could be that you receive money back, or you might have to pay some extra, but it helps you throughout the year with budgeting.
Speaking of getting money back, credit cards that actually pay you back. I have one. Love it. And, you know, if you get gas, it gives you an extra percentage. If you get groceries, it gives you a little bit more.
Exactly.
These things are just great.
Exactly.
And then there's no
cashback cards
fee.
are wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. And you need to make sure that they're working for you instead of you working for the cards. And what I mean by that is you need to be in a position to pay your balance in full each month.
Yeah.
And so we'll have some tips to talk about how to expedite paying off your balance in full, but certainly. And another thing that people may not know, these particular credit cards that have cash back on them, you might be able to tie some of your other bills to roll to that card that you get credit and cash back. Discover will allow you to do that.
I've got a few seconds left, but you say have an emergency fund.
An emergency fund is liquid assets that you can be used for an emergency. The car needs repairs, that you're not dipping into your 401ks and some of those things to meet that need.
Good stuff. Pamela McCoy, thank you very much. That's some good advice. I've got to track everything I spend this week. We'll be right back with more daytime, so don't go spending and don't go away.
We're beginning a new segment today called Financial Friday, and Pamela McCoy of Bonafide Credit Consultants is joining us this midday to talk about ways that we can all stay financially healthy. Pam, thanks so much for being Pamela.
Thank you for having me.
She corrected me on that. It's Pamela. All right, over the course of time, we're going to explore a lot of topics that deal with financial health and making sure that we kind of stay on top of our financial health. But perhaps the hardest one to deal with is the first one right off the bat, and that's debt. How big an issue is debt, and how do people find themselves getting in so much debt?
Debt is a significant issue for most consumers today. It all started actually before the recession because people typically find themselves living beyond their means rather than living within their financial means.
I would imagine credit cards is probably the easiest way to do that.
The easiest way to get there. And so when the recession hit, there were folks that were already in financial distress, and so that just kind of expanded on the situation that got us where we are here today.
All right, credit cards are a tough thing for a lot of us, I will admit that. All right, first thing off the bat, how do we get ourselves out of debt? And you have something called the power of 50. What is the power of 50?
The power of 50 is an interesting rule. It's easy to do. If you're thinking about it from a credit card perspective, anytime you're paying just the minimum payment on a credit card, you want to get to a position where you can pay more than that because you're extending the time period as to when it will take you actually to pay off the credit card. So when you're talking about the rule of 50, what that is, say for example, you've got a balance of $3,000, the APR is 18%, and your minimum monthly payment is 2%. So your minimum monthly payment on that credit card would be $60 a month.
Okay.
At paying $60 a month, it would take you about 8 years to pay that balance in full, and you're paying close to $6,000 when it's all said and done. But if you simply add $50 to that minimum monthly payment and pay $110, you'll reduce the years to pay the balance off to about 3 years, and you'll save almost $2,000.
Where were you years ago for me?
What if you increase your payment by $100?
Right.
And being able to increase those payments comes from your overall financial picture, getting some money set aside that you can increase your minimum monthly payments on your credit card.
And for a lot of people, I mean, that is kind of tough sometimes when the money's tight, but if you can do it.
But the rule simply is to say that you need to pay more than the minimum.
Right.
And so if you can't do 50, $10 will also make an impact if you could just pay $10 extra a month. So whatever you're able to do, but the rules are there really as a guide for you.
Okay, so just do more.
Just do more.
50 would be great. All right, so what is the 70-20-10 rule?
70-20-10 rule is applying to or discussing your savings and how you should apply those percentages across your monies. For example, 70%, not more than 70%. Again, these are just tools and rules, not necessarily everybody fits this to
Right, not a mandate, but something that'll help you.
Exactly, just a guide. But 70% of your money should be spent on your living expenses, which is your housing, your utilities, things of that nature. About 20% of your monies should be spent on savings, and that would include, you know, investments, your 401ks, and an important thing is emergency funds, and people will probably have a segment on emergency funds.
And that's a perfect.
That's important.
That's a perfect place for us to stop. Unfortunately, we're out of time, but we're gonna, of course, talk to you many, many more times in the future. So we'll talk about emergency funds too.
Absolutely.
Pamela, thank you. Glad you were here with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. And we'll be right back with a final check on your forecast when we come back. Very good. Thank you so much. We continue our new segment today called Financial Friday. Pamela McCoy of Bonafide Credit Consultants joins us now to talk about ways to stay financially healthy. And last time we talked, a couple weeks ago, we were talking specifically about debt. Had to end that conversation, so we're going to continue that going. Where we left off was something called the 70-20-10 rule, I believe that's what it's called. Kind of revisit that and what that means.
The 70-20-10 rule is really a baseline for savings, and it tells you how to allocate your funds. 70% or no more than 70%, generally speaking, should be used on your living expenses. That would be your housing, your utilities, things of that nature. Then the 20% is broken down actually. So 5% is emergency fund, 5% is like your goal fund. Maybe that's to buy a new car or tuition or a new outfit or concert, things of that nature. And then the other 10% is your long-term investing, which would be your 401ks and things of that nature. And then the final 10% speaks to your net income and the amount of monies that should be spent on your credit card expenses and those other miscellaneous expenses. And again, it's just a baseline, but keeping in mind that anytime any of the percentages goes up or down, it affects the savings portion, which is what we're trying to focus on.
Which is the issue. You try to put more money into savings
Absolutely.
versus spending it out in credit cards and that sort of thing. All right, that leads to needs versus desires. All right, talk to me about this.
It's kind of needs, wants, and desires, and there's a fine line between the three. Needs are your everyday lifetime things, and I like to use the analogy of water when you're talking about these three categories. Needs would be that you want water, so that's tap water.
Okay.
Wants would be, you know, you want a little higher end, so then you're buying maybe the store brand water.
Okay.
A desire is that high-end luxury.
Then you're
and
buying
we're buying Evian and the Perrier and things of that nature.
Okay.
So if you're meeting your needs, you can do that with the basics.
Okay.
And so when you're thinking of your finances, if you kind of think of it along those lines, you know, that'll help you kind of stay on point.
Okay, we'll come back to that because that's interesting. And then fiscal health versus physical health.
When you're talking about physical health, which is your money, people don't really make the correlation between that physical money health versus your physical, your body health.
Right.
If your finances are not in order, they can actually start leading to some physical health issues. People stress, high blood pressure, ulcers, all of those things could be derived from or affected by your physical. So that's why it's so important that we spend some time getting that under control.
Pamela, thank you very much. Pleasure as always. We'll see you in a couple weeks and take the next installment. I want to talk more about this whole buying expensive water thing. All right, a new scam is targeting trouble. High school is coming to a close soon, probably not soon enough for the kids in school. Many students will spend this summer looking for a job. That's why we thought now is the perfect time to attack the topic of teens and credit. Financial advisor Pamela McCoy joins us live in studio from Bonafide Credit. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So we're talking about kids and credit. What is the right age for a child to even start thinking about credit?
The right age is at the age that your child can start articulating.
Okay.
You know, at whatever level that is, then it's like most educational things, you build upon it. So even though they're toddlers, you can script and develop a plan on their own level and start building on that, because it's all about the foundation and building good behaviors, good financial behaviors. If you don't give them the right direction, could possibly lead to the wrong behavior.
Well, because the first thought is that kids don't need credit. I mean, credit is an adult thing, but you're talking, you have to teach them how to use credit and what it's for.
Exactly. And credit is tied to money. And so maybe at the initial stages, it's about cash, but it's just about money, understanding money and how that factors, because of course, with money comes credit. Credit cards, it could be financing a car, financing a home, all kinds of things on credit, but they all tie back to cash, because even if you buy it on credit, it has to be paid for.
Yes.
So if you start out talking about the importance of cash, how to understand cash, when they're spending their own money, when they understand cash, then that will affect the way that they use credit.
That kind of leads to the next question, why it's important to talk to children about and engage children in this conversation.
Because it's about the foundation, the behavioral financial foundation. Because what they learn as a child is going to carry on into their adult life when they actually are impacting their financial decisions. Right now, you know, when they're younger, it's the parents' money and the parents' credit, but that's the time to teach them.
So if you don't engage them into this conversation, it can just lead to disastrous results.
Exactly.
So if you had the first step to talk to your high schoolers getting their first job for the summer, what's the first thing you start talking to them about in terms of credit or even money?
Well, I think, you know, we've talked about budgeting or spending plan, and it doesn't matter how much money you're making, again, because it's about building that behavior, that foundation.
Right.
So they need to have a spending plan. If they're only making minimum wage, they take home $100 a week. What do they do with that $100? They need to have the plan for saving a portion of that money and investing a portion of that money, and then they're free to spend the rest of it. But then you're setting that trend.
For more of this interview, if you can go to tbo.com and just search the word links, and you'll find this story. You'll also find a link to your website as well, and get some more information about credit. This makes me think of my niece. She just got her first job.
Yeah.
I think she's got the right plan. She puts all her money in the bank and keeps asking me for money. I don't know how that works, but that's what she's doing, and it seems to work for her. As always, good to see you. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
We'll be back in just a moment with a final check on your forecast. Oh, yeah, she's like, I'm just going. Today we're talking about the one thing that can get us all into a lot of trouble if we let them. Credit cards. They're easy to use, but sometimes can be very difficult to pay off. Pamela McCoy from Bonafide Credit Counseling is with us this morning with some tips. Welcome back. Glad to have you again.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to begin with your dad's advice and quote about credit cards. Perfect for Father's Day.
Perfect for Father's Day, and not planned.
And not planned, which is perfect. What's his advice?
My dad, Lindsay Lofton, used to always say credit cards should be used to buy time and not money.
Okay, what does that mean?
Early on, you just hear it a lot, so you know it's important because he said it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But what it actually means is you're buying the time. You have that grace period, the 25 to 30 days between your billing cycles. And so you're buying that time, you're buying those days. Your money for the payment for balance in full on the credit card
Gotcha.
is invested in making money for you. So you're just buying the time, not putting it on a credit card because I don't have the means to pay for it.
Gotcha. That's a really good quote. Thanks, Dad, for that. All right, so the first question off the bat, a lot of people go, should I just stop using the credit card altogether?
No, I wouldn't recommend, excuse me, stop using the credit cards altogether, but you need to be disciplined and use the credit cards and not allow the credit cards to use you.
Okay.
And that comes from understanding the impact.
So say you get them, you pay them off. Should you close, or even if you don't pay them off, should you just close out the accounts while you're trying to pay them off, and when you're done, should you close it?
You need to keep some credit cards open, but if you have a wallet full of credit cards, it's not safe and it's not good for many reasons. One, if you got all these outstanding balances and all of that, then you're not necessarily controlling or having your all of your debt kind of in your focal point because it's spread out. From an identity theft perspective and the fraud perspective, it's not good to have all those credit cards out, again, because you don't have them all in your purview.
Right.
And so a card that you have that's open, that you haven't used in a very long time, if it ends up missing or in the hands of a thief, then you got this balance and you really weren't focused on it because you just think it's idle.
Right.
I haven't used it in a while.
And that, of course, goes back to needing to check your...
Absolutely. You're checking your credit report annually.
And when I do that, I notice something on there that says closed by consumer. I know what it means, but what's the difference between closed by consumer and then closed by issuer? What's the difference there?
The difference is the impact that it has on your score.
Right.
When you are the consumer and you're closing it for your own reasons. If it is ever indicated that it's closed by the issuer or the credit grantor, typically it has a negative connotation because we want your business. We want you using credit cards. So if we're closing it for a reason.
Because
and it might be delinquency, it may be we're having over limit issues, all kinds of things could precipitate that from the issuer. So you want it to reflect closed by consumer if at all possible.
I'll tell you what, let's make a pact and talk about credit cards part 2 in a couple weeks.
We can do that.
Because I think this is one that a lot of people deal with.
Absolutely.
A lot of people. All right, thanks so much. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you being here. Sorority meteorologist Lisa Mann is up next with a look at your weekend weather forecast. And it's Financial Friday, and we are continuing our conversation about credit cards. Yes, credit cards. Bonafide Credit Consultants Pamela McCoy joins us now with a look at credit card use. We continue this conversation from a couple of weeks ago, and where we ended the last time we talked about credit card use is that credit card holder agreement. It seems like it's 700 pages long, and you need a math degree to figure it out. What exactly is that agreement?
A cardholder agreement actually is your rule book, if you will.
Okay.
It tells you all of the rules related to that specific credit card, and though credit cards have a lot of similar points, a specific issuer might have a few nuances.
Right.
This is an example of a cardholder agreement, and it'll tell you things such as how your payments are applied, your interest rates, penalty pricing, all of those things that might be associated with the usage of the credit card.
Well, it really is kind of the rule book. You need to keep a hold of those. And I'm assuming they're probably on folks' websites, too.
They're typically on the websites, and periodically an issuer would do what we call a change in terms.
Okay.
And so when an issuer does do a change in terms, you'll get an amendment to your cardholder agreement. Some issuers elect to send out the entire cardholder agreement again with the changes and highlighting those changes. Some issuers elect to just send out an excerpt emphasizing what has changed in the cardholder agreement.
One of the things people also need to do is keep looking at their credit report, and there are ways to get free annual credit reports, but you have to be careful on these things because depending on where you go, it could be the wrong site and you could end up paying for it. Right?
Absolutely. The website that I recommend is annualcreditreport.com.
Okay.
And there you can get your free credit report. And let me remind you that everyone gets a free credit report from each of the 3 major reporting agencies each year. And I highly recommend that they do that. Not all at one time, because really the content should be basically the same.
Okay.
So I recommend that you pull them quarterly, so to speak, and compare them. And if you find issues in your credit report, that would be the time to contact your credit reporting agency to get those issues cleared up.
I want to back up. You said you suggest doing it quarterly, because I've heard at least every 6 months, but you think
right,
quarterly.
because you get 3 free credit. You pull your Experian, which is one of the major reporting, say pull that in January, and then March, April, maybe pull your Experian.
Gotcha.
Then, 3 or 4 months later, pull your TransUnion, because the content in all of the 3 should basically be the same.
I failed miserably. I pulled them all at one time. So, but that's not a bad thing, right?
And I will note too that in your free bureau, you do not get your credit score.
Yes.
That there's a nominal fee for your credit score, and depending on, I recommend that you get your score perhaps the first time, because then you'll find out what's in your bureau, if there's any issues, and what your score is. If there's some opportunities to improve, then you work on that over the next 6 to 9 months, and then maybe next year, same time, pull your score again.
Okay.
So
that's a good idea. All right, we're going to probably do this one more time, I think, because we still have more topics on credit cards to get to. For now, though, I'll refer everyone to tbo.com and look for links, and that'll get to your website and where you've put all of this information.
Right, I'll have a link to all of the 3 major reporting on my site.
All right, thank you very much. We appreciate you as always being here. So we'll talk credit cards again in a couple weeks, and we'll be right back with the final check on your weekend forecast.